YouTube people. Click that.
Let's go in here, tuck in, lad. Right, we're on.
We are on.
We're on. Sound like Brian Potter here. Hello and welcome. This is 4020 Live. We can't see Scott, we can only see half of Sky, which is magnificent. But never mind. It is the week before the grand final. Congratulations to Wigan, congratulations to Warrington. Both deservedly made it through to the grand final. We're looking forward to it. We will all be there on Saturday. One of all the big talking points were about London. Who'd have thought of scoring 4 points and yet beating the Wolfpack? We will discuss that and more. We'll talk Women's Super League as well. We'll talk the media coverage in Rugby League and what could be done to get fans to games. How come Wigan only had 9,000 people of their own fans at a semi-final when their coach was leaving, their star players leaving, and still only 9,000 bothered to turn up? More of you listen to our podcast every week. That's how good it is. Scully's here. John Davison in for Phil Kaplan, who is the only one of our number deemed worthy of being invited to the Man of Steel tonight. So there you go. And Richard Shaw is here as well. I think he's on a short fuse, the big fella.
Well, yeah, and after last...
Hold on.
Yeah.
He had his head shaved last week, and now he's had his face shaved.
Well, it's the grand finals. You got to look smart to go to Old Trafford, and obviously you're on probation. Got a match notice review penalty thing for last week's podcast debacle.
Oh yes. Have you anything you want to say to your teammates there? Because I think you let us all down.
Yeah, I apologise, and apart from that, never mind. Doesn't really matter. At least we didn't say anything libelous, because that's always something we could do.
No. John, welcome along. Nice to see you. You get invited to the big do tonight as well.
I'm on the Z list. I think Phil's a big wig, and
you're on the Z list, and you're still in front of me and Scully.
And he's only won the award, so obviously not worth it.
Scully got banned for wearing them bins at the event. Scully, your ability to predict awfully has really, we talk about Mr. Motivator. This has got to be your greatest ever achievement. London will finish 10th. They're in Super League, man. They're in Super League.
Hindsight's a wonderful thing, Mr. Wilson. Mr. Davison, hindsight's a wonderful thing. Yeah, and as you do know, I do make predictions, and sometimes people go, Scully, you're absolutely bonkers. Just like you are at times, Mr. Wilson, bonkers. But yeah, I had my reasons why I said it. And I think the reasons were justified, but one thing for sure, it's been sensational what the Broncos have produced this year. Under the coach, the assistant coach as well in Langley, as we know with the head coach in Danny Ward, and the players themselves, the way they have played, rallied, enjoyed the Rugby League under that new regime, it's been absolutely sensational. And as I said on Twitter last night, many congratulations to the owner David Hughes, congratulations to not just the coaching staff, and all the players, but also to the magnificent 6 fans who watch the London Broncos every week. Hold on. Congratulations. And well done getting back to Super League.
Whoa. Yeah, well done getting back to Super League.
Yeah, correct. Well done.
What an achievement, Joe. I mean, I look back at it. Didn't they have to win like the last 4 games against Fev, Halifax, whatever, to get in? Mm. So they've been going at it now really for 3 months, haven't they, at the top of their game. And who'd have thought it? No tries in the big game. What an achievement.
It's an amazing achievement. I mean, David Hughes spent less money this year than he did last year. I think that was one of the reasons why Andrew Anderson decided to leave, because he couldn't get the recruitment targets that he wanted because they weren't spending as much money. They lost Ackers and the French
Bartow,
French halfback, so probably a weaker squad. And what Danny Ward's done's amazing. Beaten Widnes, beaten Salford in London, then gone all the way to Canada and upset the Wolfpack, who obviously spent a lot more money than I have.
So also as well, then, John, right? You're a pretty intelligent guy, and you know your Rugby League. So before the season started, where did you think London would finish?
I thought honestly they'd be around that 4th, 5th. I thought they'd probably struggle to make the top 4, to be completely honest. I don't think anyone could have probably predicted them to be promoted in their wildest dreams.
It is. I don't know how to put it into context how big an achievement it is. Is it a good thing for the sport that they got in and not Toronto? Is that a fair question to ask?
I think it's a fair question. I think it'll upset a few people. But look, they deserve to be in Super League because they were easily the better team. Might have only been 4-2, but they outplayed Toronto for that 80 minutes, in my opinion. But to be honest, it would be a better story, or probably better for the game in terms of media interest, sponsorship, fans, all these metrics, if Toronto was in. And you could see that in the lead up to this game, the previews, the Daily Mail sent out a reporter to cover it. The Daily Mail, who cares absolutely nothing for rugby league, sent out a reporter to cover the game. I mean, that's unheard of.
So all the promotion they were doing as well, and I said, do you think maybe Toronto underestimated the Broncos? Because let's not forget, it was only a couple of weeks ago when they got to a great lead, and in the end, they held on to the victory. But do you think they maybe took them a bit lightly?
I think they got a little bit exposed. I know you guys have been saying this for a while, but their discipline really caught up with them in that game. I mean, how many penalties did they give away?
Yeah.
And they just didn't seem to have a plan B. It seemed to be a bit of a one-trick pony in the way they played. And then, when you come up against a defensive side with that much determination and grit, they just couldn't score any points. It's a bit of a slap in the face for them, I think.
So what now for the coach, Rowley? What do you think? Will he keep him Argyle, or will he look to a bigger personality? The
bells are definitely ringing that Brian McDermott is the man they're going to appoint. I mean, I asked the club, I think it was officially about 2 weeks ago, and they said no, that's not happening. But I think Mark's probably been.
No, look, it's my understanding that Paul Rowley will be leaving, and I'm not saying they're getting rid of him. It might be it's my understanding Paul Rowley won't be there next year. I could be miles out, but we have our people that tell us things, and that is my understanding. And I'm not sure that'd be a bad thing. I mean, I look at how they've played. I think I might have said to you, I think they've been ordinary in the playoffs. I really do. You look at the scrape past Leeds.
Why isn't Ryan Briley been playing?
Well, I mean that's probably something that might come out after the event. I don't know, but I'm with you. Yeah. They've spent a lot of money on him, and he's not played. And I'm not saying that. I look at Josh McCrone, right? Every time I see him play, all I see him do is moaning at the referee. Last night, at the end, 2 minutes left, and he kicked on the second tackle. You're on the line, thinking, "What are you doing, mate? What are you doing? You've just kicked yourself out of Super League there." But
for a player of that much experience, particularly in the NRL, you just it was like a brain explosion.
Yeah.
I mean, personally with Ryan Briley, I think defensively he's not up to it. I mean, he can score tries.
John, don't be talking to me about defence. Halfbacks aren't there to defend. Halfbacks are there to create.
Have you heard of Andrew Johns?
And create opportunities. That's what it's all
about.
about.
In the modern game, Scully, you've got to be able to.
Do you know what? I was looking at the League Express as well today, right? And I was looking through the stats of the dream team.
Yeah.
And I looked at the halfbacks, and Lomax and Richardson. Lomax, I think, made 361 tackles in 30 games, and Richardson about 383. That is literally what 30 tackles is. It 25, 30 tackles a game with the Masters? Is that right?
No, they've made 300 tackles all season. They've played 30 games.
382. So how many tackles is that a game?
Yeah, 10 or 11, 12.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Well, it's still too much. Still too much. Of course it is.
Anyway,
You've got the donkey. You've got your donkeys to do all the hard work, eh? Of course it is.
We're getting Rachel Riley in next week to replace Scully. If we can arrange a transfer for a countdown.
Yeah, possibly. Well, can we get her on dual reg? Can we register our people
the embarrassments are Liam Featherstone?
Yeah, we'll discuss that more.
It was interesting with Toronto. Obviously, they put David Argyle, the owner or majority owner, up before the game. He was talking about Copenhagen and Dublin and Nice. You've got to actually get into Super League to be able to stage these games. I mean,
the great RFL conspiracy has gone wrong, hasn't it? Because Toronto, where they handpicked replacements for.
And what about the recruitment manager as well, the football manager, Brian Noble? Is his job safe?
I don't think they're going to make any changes there, but I think their recruitment has been, particularly this year, been a bit poor. I think they'll spend more next year to make sure they are going, because it's going to be quite a tough division.
Well, when I look at that Toronto side, it's literally full of journeymen. That's all it is. Full of journeymen.
Yeah, but they've recruited a side to get them out of the division. That's what they've done.
Like they did last year.
Yeah, but they haven't. They've got out of the division.
Well, no, but that's what they recruited a team to do, isn't it?
Yeah.
They would have had to. Had they gone up, they'd have had to make wholesale changes. The interesting one is, what do London do now? They're miles behind everyone else. Who are they going to bring in? Are they going to spend the cap? Are they going to? I don't know what's going to happen there. And it's an interesting one. Did the owner? Did he want to go up? It seemed like he was reining it in a little bit. All of a sudden now, all right, he gets the extra brass, but he's got to spend the extra brass. It's an interesting one.
Well, does he have to? He doesn't have to spend it if he doesn't want to.
He doesn't, but I think that would be disrespectful to Danny Ward if you don't.
Well, all right.
It's not going to be a good look if London are pumped every week in Super League and finish.
No.
Well, all right. Then what about the players this year who have played so well for London? The players have played so well for Danny Ward. So I understand the scenario. That's what sport is, but do they deserve not a chance just to say, all right?
Yeah, they've got a small squad, don't they? I think they're losing a couple anyway, aren't they? They're moving on. So, you know, I mean, I think it's going to be great. I think I'm really pleased for Danny. You know, we've had, joking aside, I know you like him, you like his dad.
Oh, yeah.
We can't look past what
Tremendous respect, not just say for his old man David, you know, what he achieved at Leeds, and certainly from what he did at Leeds when I was there playing for coach, one of the best coaches I played for, but certainly from what he did at Leeds when I was there playing for coach, one of the best coaches I played for. But yeah, Danny Moore's done a great job, done a sensational job, and as I mentioned before, there's plenty of good British coaches out there. You know, there's not just Danny, there's Fordy, there's Marshall. Hey, by the way, did you see Richard Marshall? You know, there's not just Danny, there's Fordy, there's Marshall. Hey, by the way, did you see Richard Marshall? He stood with Darryl Powell and Sheridan. Did you see that? That was an interesting one. Yeah, so I'm trying to Richard Marshall. Yeah, but we've got plenty of young quality in this coaches. So all you chief execs out there, you chairman, you know, instead of going for overrated Australians, Justin Holbrook, come on Justin, I tipped you to do the treble. You've won absolutely nothing.
Another great team.
Don't want the Shield.
St Helens, the nearly team. That's what St Helens are, the nearly team.
He's not Mr. Motivator, he's the kiss of death.
Well, did I win tweet of the? I must have won tweet of the week on thing.
It's Brett Delaney retiring
because I said.
Hold on, I must have won tweet of the week, making myself available to play for League. That's got to be the tweet.
We'll talk about that in a bit. I said. I feel sorry for Justin Holbrook. I said, but let's be fair, the job were knackered as soon as you tipped him to do the treble. They might as well. And he laughed and he was right happy that you'd said it. And I went, Justin, you do realise that's
what influence do I have on any team performances? What influence do I have?
It's funny because when the teams that you criticise do well, you always claim it's down to you. But now they've not done so well, you don't want to do it.
No, I don't. No, I don't.
Yeah, you do.
No, I don't.
Mr. Motivator.
No, I don't. No, I don't.
Fair enough. Where do the Wolfpack go from here? Do you expect them to be in Super League next season? Well, year after.
I think they'll be definitely favourites to top. Well, obviously they only have to top the league only, but that's going to be an interesting division. With obviously Widnes won't be too happy, I think, with that result because they're going to come up against a Wolfpack, you know, packed with money. You've got Bradford, you've got York, and obviously there's a few other clubs. Halifax. Who knows what's going to happen with Featherstone and Lee in terms of their signings and finances, but. I don't even know, there's no guarantee.
Should be a breaking
news. Diddle-a-din.
Hold on, have we got any yellow tape that we can find along the bottom of the tell?
I've turned it to Eduardo Paglia. Breaking news via Matt Shaw, who is not me, as opposed to somebody who thought I was on Total Rugby League forums. I don't post on forums anymore, honest. No right to League Express.
Come on, what's the breaking news?
Luke Gale's out of the England squad.
Ah.
He's got a hair injury. He's injured his leg, so he's out. And a replacement will be announced tomorrow.
Right, so no Luke Gale. We'll discuss.
We don't know about Johnny Lomax yet either, do we?
No, compound fracture of his hand. Oh,
I think he's okay.
Is he?
That was what I saw before coming in tonight. Yeah, I think he's okay for the England squad.
He clearly wasn't fit. We'll talk. I want to talk about Cass later on. But who would you have coming in then if he's not available? Luke Gale, who's the next cab off the rack? Is it Danny Richardson?
Well, Richardson, but the last 10 weeks he's been garbage. If I'm honest with you, absolute garbage is Richardson because. When I watched him, I watched him purposely over the last, I would say, 4 or 5 games now, and what Richardson has been doing, he's been waiting for things to happen rather than making things happen. You can't just stand there and wait to kick the ball on the 5th tackle. And that semi-final on Thursday night against Warrington, he ran the ball absolutely once. He did absolutely nothing. And for the last 10 weeks, he has been very, very ordinary. And as I just said, he's been garbage. So would I pick him for England now? Having said that, who else is there? There's not anybody else, is there?
It's an interesting one.
Truman, is he a 6 or is he a 7, Truman?
Well, he's out anyway. He's broke his hand, hasn't he?
So is Truman out as well, is he?
He's out, yeah.
You think it's going to be Connor and Lomax, but they don't. But that's not. They don't really have a natural 7 there.
Jackson Hastings, get him in the squad.
He's available.
Richie, can we get Scully's opinion?
You Tilton Tolly.
Well, it's going to be Richardson, and we'll have to bring Richardson, who's a proper number 7. Simple as that.
You wouldn't have Hastings.
Don't get it going, John. Don't get it.
Grandmother's English.
Listen. He's played for Salford against some very ordinary sides. He can't even make the first grade back in Australia. So don't give me that rubbish. He's not even English. Rubbish.
He's available to play.
He's in the England cricket team.
Move on.
Would
Move
you
on.
pick him? Would you pick him?
Hastings.
Yeah.
Yeah, I probably would actually. He's played New South Wales under 16s, under 18s, junior Kangaroos, Australian schoolboys, NRL debut at 18. He's a very, very good footballer, and he's eligible.
People don't seem to be too bothered that Luke Gale is not in the England squad.
Is
on
that after
social
the
media.
semi-final, perhaps?
Well,
To be fair, he's had an injury. We'll talk. I
Yeah.
want to talk, Cal. We'll give it 10 more minutes and we'll get stuck into the semi-finals. But
Toby says no big loss. Hopefully Richard doesn't play. He's been awful recently. Luke says no big loss. Lots of people, Michael including, telling us they're adding extra seating at the Ealing Trailfinders next year.
why is Michael not extremely drunk right now? He must have been on the sauce all weekend.
Oh.
He's like London's biggest fan.
Here's Roberts. Here it is. All the Luke Gale fan clubs out tonight. Robert says somebody who picked up an injury playing hide and seek on Friday night. Oh.
That's harsh.
Toby says, running to shout at the referees at his throat.
Gordon, why is it harsh? Do you think Luke Gale played well on Friday?
No.
So
No,
He
hide
did
and
play
seek.
well.
But he was injured, and that has obviously now been proven. You know, one thing I want to say, right, about, and I wanted Cass to win more than anyone. We all know why.
gamble responsibly.
Well, I did gamble. In
You did.
fairness, I did. You can't
did.
argue with
No,
that.
That's what I have to say. That.
They were busted. They were busted. I think there were probably 5 or 6 players should have played the other night. But we'll talk about that at 6:30. Keep your tweets coming in.
People already moaning about Wakefield's ground. We don't know
All
about
right, what's up with it?
It's not as good as Ealing Trailfinders, which is probably
Right,
true.
okay.
Caster's ground ready for 2021, says David. I will bet you a fiver it isn't. I'll bet you a fiver it isn't, David. You
I want
tell
to
me
ask
the
a
chat, I'll give
question.
you
I want to ask a question to our listeners, right? And this is a genuine question, right? Because this is something that did come up this weekend, right? St Helens have got a beautiful new ground. Beautiful.
Toilets and everything.
Toilets, everything. Corporate hospitality, more than you could wish for. Can't fill it for a semi-final, biggest game of the season. Wigan, all right, they don't own their own ground, but they rent a very nice ground. Very nice ground. Same comments as before. Can't get. They had 9,000 Wigan fans there at the weekend. Is that not the? Why are we persisting in badgering Castleford and Wakefield? You've got to have a new ground. You've got to have a new. Why? What does it matter? Salford have got a new ground, or they had one. They can't afford to pay for it. They rent it. They don't do it, pay it, or whatever. Don't make them a better rugby team. Don't make more people go watch. It's a myth. It's an absolute myth. Do you agree or disagree?
I disagree in part. I think if Castleford, obviously, if they had a new ground, it's not necessarily attracting more people, but they would be making more money from corporate hospitality and things like that. It's also, the general profile of the game and the sport. You take someone to the jungle, and I've been as a fan and as media, and it's a great experience. You're right in, but it is like you're in there in the 80s or 70s.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's a lot of asbestos going on. Someone's going to get killed at some point. But
Well, hold on. Those are the opinion of John Davison.
that was tongue in cheek. But it's not the be all and end all having a new stadium. I think you talk about St Helens and Wigan full crowds on
What officially
Thursday
were
and
the
Friday.
crowds?
I think there was 13,000 something at the DW.
12,300 at St Helens,
Yeah.
right? There were more, I'd say 2,500, 3,000 Warrington fans there, right?
Yeah.
Where the hell are the St Helens fans? Tommy Mike put some on Facebook about, Huddersfield Giants, they don't bring any fans, they should be in Super League, right? As I said to him at the time, and I will, because I did put it on his Facebook and he replied, if you can't sell your own ground out, don't be criticising other people for not coming. And that comment stands, the biggest game of their season, and 12,300 people turned up. I'm not being rude, that is a disgrace. That is a disgrace.
I think it's really worrying that 2 of the biggest games of the year got such average crowds. Is that, and I don't know the answer, but is that down to one being on a Thursday night, or is it down to lack of marketing of the game, or is it just in general, there's too many games, the season's too long, and people have either run out of money or interest?
What do you think, Ledge?
Yeah.
A bit of both. I think what John was just saying there. You get maybe lack of finances, and maybe saving up for the grand final, anticipating that the team was going to get there. And
St Helens have had
Secondly as
2
well,
months. St Helens have had 2 months knowing they're going to be at home for 2 months.
Yeah.
And they can't get 10,000 of their own fans in the ground. That's a disgrace.
So should it be Super League and the RFL promoting hard these games as well as the clubs, or purely left with the clubs? Because I don't think the clubs are doing enough to promote their own fixtures.
I just think McManus and Lenigan are leading the coup, if you like,
Yeah.
right? Which is fair enough.
Yeah,
If that's what they want to do.
Yeah, but also as well, they've got Pearson and Hudson behind them as well, by the way.
Well, no, but that, yeah. So they're leading the charge. Need this, need that, and they can't sell their own ground out. I can't believe that people are worried about that.
It's very wrong. I think, and that St Helens Warrington game, for me, in terms of entertainment value, I think it was one of the best games of the season. Yeah, and that's what you want ahead of an elimination semi, ahead of a grand final.
Well, can I make a suggestion? I reckon we go back to Sunday afternoons at 3 o'clock. Simple as that. Crowds will come back at 3 o'clock Sunday afternoon, football. There's no two ways about it. They will.
TV would say, fine, during the week, during the season, you've still got to have your TV games. They pay the money, mate. They've got to have the say when they want a game. If it's Thursday, it's Thursday. But you can't say, it's not like Hull have gone 150 mile across country.
Yeah,
Warrington travelled in good numbers. Castleford.
Yeah, fantastic.
And mate, if Castleford... so if, for instance, Wigan had played Huddersfield or Catalan, there'd have been about 8,000 people there. 8,000 people, it's a disgrace. Sean Wayne's leaving, Bateman's leaving, Sam Tompkins is leaving. By the way, how bad that decision gets. All three of those decisions get worse every week. The only one I'm willing to accept is the Bateman one, because at least the lad is going to better himself, and I don't see that Wigan can stand in his way. Tompkins is outstanding. Sean Wayne, other than that blip when they had 3 weeks when they fell apart, because I think the club were destroyed, it will leave the players. Now they've got their head round it, they're back on it. But for me, that's pathetic. Let me put it into context, right? If that crowd at Toronto is right, and I wasn't there, I don't know if it is or it isn't, there were more Toronto fans watching them play London than there were St Helens fans watching them at home in the semi-final, and there were Wigan fans in the semi-final. That is a disgrace.
Surely Thursday can't be an excuse for Saints and Warrington when they're so close to each other. It's not as if you're going to get back at 1 in the morning or whatever. It's not as if it's Hull.
You might not take, kids and whole families, but yeah, I agree with you. You'd still think they're going to attract more when their season is on the line in that game.
I tell you what as well, we mentioned with Wigan because I reckon they will beat Warrington on Saturday, so it's a great win. A great way for Sean to go. Tompkins, obviously, Bateman, obviously, Sutton's leaving, and obviously, who else is for them going, isn't he? Oh,
So-
wait.
There's also still in there.
Yeah, Tompkins, Bateman, Sutton, and Wayne from there, but I tell you what, how much pressure does this put on Adrian Lamb now for next season?
Well, that's what I was
How much pressure does it put on him? Eh? When we found out about this, the Magic Weekend about Sean Wayne leaving Wigan, we were like, no, it can't be. It can't be. Then the rumours about Catalans and that didn't come. And then the way that it came about, and as we've said many, many times on this show, Sean Wayne, he's even said it in the Rugby League World magazine, Wigan's in his blood. Wigan, and the same with Sean Wayne with Wigan, he's the same as Alex Ferguson was with Manchester United. He wanted to rebuild teams and build teams. He wants a side, as Mark Wilson said before we came on the show, he wants 7 Wiganers pulling that Wigan shirt on. He wants 17 Wiganers walking out Old Trafford lifting that trophy. And boy, oh boy, what an absolute massive, massive mistake they are with Wayne. We're letting Sean Wayne go. It's absolutely pathetic. Pathetic. And whether it's going to happen or not, but I just hope, and I say that they do win on Saturday. And I'd like Sean to come out and tell us exactly what he thinks.
He said he's not going to do it. I've asked it. Look, Scully, you know what we're like? We ask what we want to ask. I asked him that question. He said he's not going to come out and say.
I wonder if Lenigan's figured to saying, do you know what? What have I done here? Or do you think he's just too hard-faced or too...
Well, look, Mr. Lenigan's son listens to this show. I know because he tweeted me the other day and told me when I criticised his dad. Right? I'm with you. I think they've made an absolute monumental mess up.
Have they ever?
Because that team, under Sean Wayne, right, whether they had 100 injuries or 1 injury or no injuries, will compete every week. You know what you're getting with that team. It might not look great at times. It doesn't need to look great. It's all about winning. Castleford look great, but when it comes to the big games, they can't win big games. That's something we are going to have to talk about because I spoke to several of the players after the game. They all said, we're pathetic. When it comes to the big occasion, we're pathetic.
One prime example here for a Wigan player who loves playing for Sean Wayne and how Sean Wayne manages him, and he's been that for 2 years, young Manfredi. You Manfredi, the ability what he had before he had the injury, Sean Wayne literally took it on his own steam and led to believe from a point of view he's going to make sure that managing as well, make sure that he doesn't get into a shell, he doesn't get too down and all this sort of thing. And the response what Manfredi has given him since he's come back after 2 years out, it's sensational.
Well, I think part of that as well is when Charlie became available and Wayne went, what do I need him for?
Exactly.
I've got Davis, Marshall, Burgess, Manfredi.
But what I'm saying with Manfredi though, the time was being out, but as soon as he's fit and he's proved to Sean and said, yeah, Sean, I'm ready. Sean had the confidence and the trust in Manfredi to say, okay then, go and show me what you can do. And how well has he played? But again, that's not coaching. That's a great man management skill what Sean Wayne has by getting the best out of his players. And do you know what? It's absolute joke. It's a travesty. Now, he's not just leaving Wigan. It's a travesty that he's leaving the greatest game of all in rugby league, going with that rubbish in Scottish Rugby Union.
It's only 1 day a week.
Well, that's enough. He'll be bored to death, But surely there's somebody out there. I wanted Sean Wayne at Leeds. I wanted him as my head coach at Leeds. Weren't he there for 3 years? The philosophy what he was bringing.
Chris Chester's been sacked already.
Chris Chester's gone. Darryl Powell's gone.
Danny Ward.
Danny Ward.
No, Danny Walker comes as assistant, but I wanted Sean Wayne. I wanted Sean Wayne at Leeds. Weren't there for 3 years. Boy, oh boy.
So they've made a mistake, we know that. What are the people saying on Twitter?
Let's go to YouTube, because we often go to YouTube.
You do that, I'm just going to excuse myself.
You go away. Not as after I managed to break the computer earlier. People were watching Saw My Head earlier, that was quite good. Chris says the only reason why Salford have a new ground is because they were threatened with being kicked out of the Super League if they didn't go ahead with it. Were they? I can't remember that.
Enforcing standards. Outrageous.
I like the Willows. I miss the Willows. Chris also says maybe treat the semi-finals like they do with the Challenge Cup and turn it into a double header at a neutral venue. I guess that then ruins the home advantage for number 1 and 2 seeds, but
that's a decent idea. Yeah.
Martin's moaning about the TV coverage, not enough pre and post match coverage. Was there? Didn't see any of it. Marching on together. Look at this. Doesn't like Castle Wakefield because they're dumps of grounds. It's not me saying this as a Leeds fan. They're embarrassing stadiums of top tier sport. Castle Wakefield should just ground share. They should. I don't have any problem with that whatsoever. And Andrew's not happy with London. He's tweeted us and YouTube. He's working, don't panic. I know my head's stuck on the screen. We've got the Facebook on our screen, just the top of my head.
There's paparazzi.
What's going on?
Try to get some TV time.
What's going on?
Andrew's talking about London's stadium, and he says they need to move because they're over half an hour away from the closest public transport as well as being in the middle of nowhere.
Can't move again, surely.
And they've only moved about 10 times in 38 years.
They can't move again.
They can't be that far away, can they? I've been into Ealing a few times. Not to the ground, but I've been in Ealing. It's not that big, is it?
Get some,
it's fairly big.
Get some
shit. I've only been there to a beer festival. I can't remember that much, but fairly big common park area.
Were Salford forced into moving to a new stadium because the Willows was rubbish, because it wasn't, or because they needed to sell the Willows because they had no money? Elsewhere, Andy says Toronto for Wayne. Well, the other 6 days of the week when he's not in Scotland at Murrayfield. Morris said it was a 10-hour round trip on Friday night from Pontefract to Wigan. Absolutely ridiculous. Sunday afternoon would have put thousands more on the game. Well,
I'm going to say more. I mean, well done for making it, and we have to do it. We have to do it a lot work-wise, Tremendous turnout, absolutely tremendous. I felt sorry for every Cass fan that went the other night because, like me, I don't think they got a run for their money, but, well, we'll see.
Lindsay's a Toronto fan.
Hello, Lindsay.
She's one of those made-up people.
She's a cardboard.
How does she tweet then if she's made up?
She's a Russian bot.
She's a bot, right?
I enjoy people from Wakefield on our Facebook group moaning that Toronto hadn't sold out for the £1 million game. I'm sure if you look back, there's probably a bigger crowd there than was at the game against Bradford in 2015. And regularly bigger crowds in Toronto than come to Bellevue, despite the fact the chairman has said if they get more people, they'll spend more money. But anyway, back to the comments from our friend in Toronto. If I can find it, I've got the world's smallest computer. Lindsay says, congratulations to London on winning promotion there. Players and fans were great all season over here. While I'm disappointed with the result, I wouldn't have rather lost to any other club. Had a great night with the Wolfpack players, staff and fans after the game. 4 hours after the match and the pub was still packed upstairs. So they've cottoned on to that part of
fair enough.
Of course, they're all mercenaries as well. We should say that to
We need an invite over there, don't we?
Well, we're not in the inner circle of the rugby league media. So
You're on the Z list with me,
mate. When you've been to North Korea, then we'll send you there. Yeah.
Steve says, why was there a trophy for the runs of Bradford and Workington? Because there's a big stash of trophies at the RFL they need to get rid of.
Yeah, but why was the trophy better than the one you get for winning Super League?
Did you see that trophy?
How good was that trophy?
Listen,
A football boot.
a bet for rugby league boss just on a plinth.
Yeah, well,
pathetic.
It was super glued.
It was pathetic.
Wakefield got nothing. Well, we won
That was quality.
Jeez.
That was the highlight of the game, and I don't know if anyone hasn't seen it, go online and find Jared Sammett's accent.
Oh yeah.
He's been in London, I think, maybe 2 years. He's from Blacktown, which is Western Sydney, so
right.
Fairly ochre sort of place, and he somehow got a half Cockney, half. It was like when Joey Barton went to France.
Yeah.
I think
It
that
was
was
outrageous.
Steve McLaren.
Yeah.
I think that was Joey Barton trying to be intellectual. I think he did that on purpose.
But best accent ever.
What else happened with trophies this week? Oh yeah, Featherston won the League Leaders Championship Shield thing by bowling players. That was good.
What was that Featherston though? When you consider that not many were their players. So
Wait, what was that league?
That's what I meant. It was more
number
Wigan.
51 on the.
It's more Wigan.
Derek wants us to mention the National Conference League final. Amateur games still pulling people in and giving entertainment. Didn't look that many there on the telly.
What was the crowd?
1100. Just over 1100. Featherston yesterday with Parkside. Yeah, well done Parkside as well. Unbeaten all season. Unbeaten all season, and again. Great.
Was McShane there? Was it?
Yeah, it was there, McShane.
One on the sauce.
Yeah, he was there. Yeah, just over 1100 there. So yeah, well done. Great stuff, Parkside.
Enjoyed that fight. That was good. That was in the game before with Milford Marlins. Do we want to talk about that now, or do we want to talk
What's
about TV coverage and stuff?
Oh look, No. Let's get stuck into the semi-finals. Look, we're well in. If you want anything to say at 4020 Live, can I ask everyone to share, like, tweet. If you're on YouTube, subscribe. Just get the word out there that we're here, talking all things rugby league. You can download the podcast. We're really all on the numbers. Thank you for that. Right, we'll start for the semi-finals. Saints beaten by Warrington. We all said to a man last week St Helens would win that game. We were all wrong. How good were Warrington? How bad was St Helens? Or is it somewhere in the middle?
St Helens were very, very poor. And as I mentioned as well, and the halfbacks have to take blame for that because the forwards got a good field position. But the halfbacks themselves, both of them, Richardson and Lomax, you just can't stand and waiting for the last tackle to try and create with the kicking game because you've got to make things happen. You just can't wait. You can't wait for things to happen. You've got to make things happen. And the forwards got themselves a good field position from there. And there was nothing absolutely. And I say St Helens going for 3 field goals. That just tells you, well, the Warrington defence that good to keep them out? I don't think so. I just felt as though the two halfbacks at St Helens, Richardson and Lomax, were clueless. We've seen what pace they've got out wide. The centres have got plenty of pace. We know what Barber can do. Chiming in.
To be fair, Gary, Tommy Makinson, why did he not pass that ball?
I agree.
Why did he not pass that ball?
Well, Makinson could only answer that question because some people said to me, well, it looked as though Richardson ran over him, ran a little bit too far. I thought, no way, mate. What Tim Makinson should have done, he should have literally ran about 3 or 4 yards before he got to Ratchford. Gave Richardson the ball. He would have gone the outside of Ratchford. Yeah. Ratchford would have caught him. Makinson would have backed up, and it would have been quite easy to score. So it was a massive, massive mistake from Makinson. But what I'm saying is here, the creativity was absolutely useless from the St Helens halfbacks. And I'm going to say that's why they lost again.
Makinson had to straighten. He had to hit the left shoulder. Yeah. He just kept running the same channel, so there was no space. It was just, crazy.
But from a Warrington point of view, again, the forwards, they got ripped in. And a good bit of variation, certainly from Kevin Brown. Say what I liked in the second half when he chipped over on the second tackle. I thought,
that was a planned move. The reaction of Steve Price said they'd clearly worked on that.
Yeah, but still, it was a planned move or not. It was great for me to see.
Was it
the second or third tackle on this sort of thing? It was great to see. And I thought, So they're asking some questions, this St Helens defence here. And at times, they just seem to be a little bit panicky, St Helens from there. But Warrington, what they did in the Challenge Cup final, they were clueless, but they were very, very good on Thursday night. Asked plenty of questions. When the ball decided to be moved, they were clinical. Tom Lyon was back to his best. He's proved himself that it's a quality.
What a finish that first one was.
Absolutely.
Try.
And when he gets the opportunities, he'll score his tries. I thought Jack Hughes again. Congratulations as well to Jack on the captaincy of the England Knights. He was back to something like his best. Warrington were far better, creative-wise. The halfbacks in Roberts and Kevin Brown did the business for Warrington. That's why they won.
Fair enough. What do you make of it, John?
Yeah, I don't think St Helens were very poor. I thought they didn't play to their best, but they had a dig, and just Warrington just found another gear towards in that second half.
Not everybody at St Helens were pretty on. The forwards
Yeah.
led the platform.
It wasn't nowhere near as
clueless.
bad in the semi-final of the Challenge Cup where they just didn't turn up.
The Cowans battered them, didn't they? You know,
Yeah.
but the St Helens forwards, they did a job. It was the halfbacks who were clueless. There was nothing coming from the halfbacks.
They had their chances, obviously, with Makins, and it was
Yeah.
a tight game. And they just full credit to Warrington. I thought they were.
So St Helens now, it's 5 years since the grand final. So St Helens now, are they the nearly club? Are they the nearly team?
They've got a terrible record in semi-finals.
Got a shocker.
But I think the highlight for me was Steve Price shadowboxing on the sidelines. I don't know if you saw that. You were obviously at the game, but he was throwing punches.
Showing
a
you
bit like
Yeah.
your old mate Laurie Nicholas from
Laurie
Balmain.
Nicholas,
sorry, yeah.
I think sometimes I want to punch me, to be honest with you. But also as well, I don't know if you know.
I think a few of the listeners want
I
to.
don't know if you know this as well, but Warrington through the week, they had a special guest who came to the dressing room. I don't even know this. Casper Schmeichel.
Casper Schmeichel.
Casper Schmeichel. He went there to
City.
talk about adversity and a side that are underdogs, which Warrington were. And he was there, and he spent about half an hour, 40 minutes with the lads, just talking about adversity and how you can get over the winning line. And it seemed to have worked, to be honest with you. But I found it a little bit strange. What, a goalkeeper? Why do you want to talk to a goalkeeper? Goalkeepers are like wingers.
Premier League winner. You know, he's a winner, isn't he?
Yeah.
We're not giving Warrington enough credit, apparently.
Well, no,
we are.
I am going to give them some credit. I thought they were fantastic. I thought they were the team that went to win it. I think St Helens went not to lose. I thought Chris Hill had one of his better games I've seen him have. Cut out the rubbish, Chris, with all this grubbing. Just be the guy that bangs it in, makes yards, offloads, makes tackles, and I thought he did that. I thought he was outstanding. Mike Cooper, outstanding.
Clark were good.
They were good to a man.
What about Tyrone Roberts? He's probably been slated all season, and he really stood up.
He has. No, he did. And I thought Kevin Brown, who I probably have criticised a little, I think he's gone past his best. He showed why he used to be such a good player the other night. And those two are going to have to play that again on Saturday if they've got a chance. We know that. And probably they're going to face an even tougher defence if they're going to win it. But I thought they were excellent. I thought they asked questions. I was a bit worried they weren't in front. I thought they should have been more in front than they were. But even then when they went behind, I never felt they were going to lose. You just always felt when you were there that they were just going to find a play that would win the game. I thought that line, because they went 7 behind, didn't they? And that finish from Lynham was unbelievable. How he saw him coming, he dived under, bounced over. It was I thought, wow, fair play, yeah. I thought they were a better team. I thought they fully deserved to win. So I am very much pro Warrington. And I was pleased for Steve Price. I said before the game, he looked. You know what he looked like at the start with his suit on? He was stood at the front. He looked like the groom at the wedding, and he's thinking, is she going to turn up? Is she going to? That's what he looked like to me. He was walking up and down. He was looking over his shoulder, and like you said, you mentioned the chip over the top. He went ballistic because they clearly planned that move. When Barber defends in the line, kick it over the top, and they did, and it'd have been a great try. But I was really pleased for him. I had them down as bottlers, bottled it at Wembley. I didn't play the game at Wembley. They'd lost a couple of tight ones. I thought they actually looked really composed. Is it finally going to be their year?
1955.
I know.
And since they've won a title or a grand final, I mean, that's a long time to wait in sporting terms, isn't it?
It is. It is. So there you go. So what did you make of it, Rich?
It was
You
great.
were there.
It was great, wasn't it? It was one of the best games I think I've seen all season. Had everything. Yeah, it had mistakes in it, but defensively it was good in that first half, and then the second half opened up. As you say, Tom Lynham's 2 finishes were superb. I think he tried to do that at Wembley with the slides were a long way out, and it failed at Wembley, but it worked here. And Warrington are in the grand final. We get to see a fixture we've seen. Was it 5 times already this season or 4?
6 times this is going to be. Yeah.
But I'm looking forward to it. I am not jaded about the grand final. I'm looking forward to the grand final because we are, unlike John Wilkin, apparently quote of the week in League Express this week. I think they just make it up. There will be a fairy tale ending. For either Warrington, it will be their year, or for Sean Wayne, it's his perfect farewell, and for John Bateman and the et al. As well. So it's going to be a fascinating grand final. I'm really looking forward to being at Old Trafford to watch it, and the best team win.
I want to know. I want to know who the fans want to win. I want to know who the fans want to win.
Because everyone likes giving it to Warrington. It's always your year. And then if they win it, what can it's like the Hull KR fans after Hull won at Wembley. What can they do now? Because they're still rubbish.
But
And Hull are any good. Well, Hull are rubbish now as well. So what can we abuse you for now?
But we'll be for sure for Warrington on Saturday. They can't get into a grind because if they get into a grind, they'll get hammered.
They're the masters of the grind, Wigan, aren't they?
You can't get into a grind. So what they've got to do, Wigan, is listen like Kevin Brown. Kick on the second and third tackle, and just try and hold the defence. All right, but if you're prepared to defend that thing, because if it comes off, it comes off. If it doesn't, right, all right, we know what we're going to be doing. So we know if it doesn't come off, the defend. But if they get into a grind with Wigan, there's only one winner. There's only one winner.
We're going to Cliff Thorburn then, one for our Canadian viewers, and snooker fans. Which snooker player out of Warrington? Winning as a grinder.
Did Kirk Stevens ever win anything? He's another Canadian, isn't he?
Yeah, he got banned for. Yeah,
but
he used to wear white suit.
The first one to do the 147.
That's what
he did it at the Masters, yeah.
Only the first one to 147 in the white suit. He didn't,
in
did
the
he?
white suit.
Yeah, in the white suit.
He'll be signing. No, I can't do that joke.
Yeah,
Wigan at Warrington says Mary and Jane, and people can only work out what the joke was. Mary and Jane want Warrington to win. Roy thinks Wigan. Steve's also going for Warrington. Is it just Widnes fans who don't want, and Wigan fans obviously, who don't want Warrington to win?
I don't know. You know what? It's a weird one now because I like to dislike Wigan because they're a big club and they're
Wigan.
Yeah, they're Wigan and they have a way of doing it.
Everything.
But I'm going to say it now. I'm gutted Sean Wayne's leaving rugby. I am gutted. When I spoke to him last week, I was genuinely gutted. I felt it, and he was gutted as well.
Exactly.
Not because he's not going to speak to me anymore, but because he's leaving Wigan, obviously. But it was like, why is this guy being allowed to leave our game? So part of me wants him to go out a winner, but I also want Steve Price to win. That team were in the bottom four last year. They beat the grand final and they beat
when
the
you look at the
final.
turnaround, how bad
What a
things
job
were
he's
last
done.
year.
What a job he's done.
I'm just going to say that, how much of this is down to the coach, Steve Price, because they were at rock bottom, weren't they? After the year before, and the players themselves, as I said before, a coach has only got a certain span before the players get fed up, and I think Tony himself will agree. They may have stayed a season or two too long from there, but with what Price has done, I say he's got that consistency about the players are responding, have that smile back on their faces, and hey, listen, he's doing a great job. Wembley final, grand final, top four spot. Couldn't get any better.
Worrying thing is though, I don't think Scully knows that Steve Price is a protege of Wayne Bennett.
Why do you have to be Wayne Bennett's name?
Well, just that's where he learned. He was Wayne Bennett's assistant.
Is he
handpicked?
I stayed 10 days with Wayne Bennett back when I took the Huddersfield job on. By the way,
if you bought you a few beers, you'd love him.
Just think if you'd listened to him, you might have won 3 games instead of 2.
Yeah. That's a bit harsh.
Fact might be right though, you can't deny it.
I'll tell you the stats if you want me to go to the Huddersfield job.
Where's that bell? Where's that bell? I don't want to ring it, I want to throw it.
We've got a test match on next Wednesday. He's wearing the country yet?
Not that I know of, but he's got to be here soon, doesn't he?
He might be the guest of honour.
Yeah, he might be. He won't be doing any media, that for sure. He loves the media.
Saturday's the latest opportunity to play.
So Steve Price won the Wayne Bennett where at?
At St George. Steve Price played for your old club, Balmain.
Right.
2 knee reconstructions at 22, ended his career.
Right.
And he got into coaching. Nathan Brown at St George Illawarra said, come and coach under 20s.
Right.
When Brown got the axe, Wayne came in, and Steve Price was the only coach on the staff he selected, and he groomed him.
Right.
Steve's spot on. Warrington and Jimmy White. So
yes, that is a great analogy.
And he still thinks he can win it.
Well, he does. We've seen him try to win.
Yeah. Martin says, since I stand to win a sizable bet on Wigan, I should be cheering for them. But like on Friday, I'll still probably find myself cheering for their opposition. I don't know, Martin.
Do you know Pricey? He's been stood on the sideline doing the coach. Do you think will he be in the stands, or do you think he'll be on the sideline?
I think he'll be at the sideline. He was at the cup final. And
I think it's great to see me. I want coaches on the sideline showing that passion, and showing that enthusiasm, and the players won't be getting ripped into, let the coaches get ripped into them. Great to see.
Yeah.
Pointing and shouting.
Adrian said, "What do you put in YouTube to watch this?"
4020 Live. If you search for, I think we're just 4020 TV. And you can find us on there. Subscribe, because that's always nice when I get a notification. So do that. It's all good. And which is a slightly different camera angle. Apparently the sound's better, which is odd because The sound on Facebook's coming from an expensive sound mixer, and the sound on YouTube coming from my old phone. For people who wonder about the technicalities of this program,
There you go.
We're cheap.
There you
So there you go, Adrian. Thank you for asking, and thank you for tuning in. More and more coming in on YouTube every week.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk a bit more about Toronto, or do you want to move on to the other semi-final?
We will move on to the other semi-final, and the talk in the car was, should I cash my bet in or let it ride? And sadly, when I got there,
Fortune favours the brave, Mark.
Yeah, this time next year, Rodney will be millionaires. I got exactly what I thought I was going to get. Cass did turn up. Wigan squeezed the life out of them, and Wigan do what Wigan do, and that's win big games.
Yeah. You sort of wonder where the Castle would go from here. I mean, do you bring in the psychologists? Is it a mental thing?
Well, is it any coincidence that the two teams that are probably renowned for playing the best rugby, in St Helens and Cass, both lost the big semi-final? And not only both lost it, both did turn up in it.
I think St Helens, at least they threw a few punches, but Castleford were just terrible. I mean, there seemed to be several players who lost their heads. They were throwing and swinging arms, and they lost all their composure.
Adam Milner, first two carries, it might not have been his first two carries, Stonewall, cold drops.
Yeah.
Big game. He was awful at the grand final.
But
Just slowed him down. Then every time he's got the ball, he's waiting to make sure he catches it to pass it, and it takes away from his game.
But also as well, when you looked at Gale kicking the ball out, well, that's just getting to the ground and Wigan. Why kick the ball out? So you kick the ball out, you walk to the scrum. So do Wigan. They're loving it. All right, so we bring the ball out. We'll go to the scrum at our pace, and we'll play the game at our pace. They just literally played into Wigan's hands. If Castleford, because they can't play the grind game, they can't play the pacing game, but whatever tactics they came up with on Friday, certainly it didn't work. But unfortunately for Castleford, the big game players just literally, they all had a nightmare. They had an absolute shocker. And Luke Gale was one of them. And I say, all right, you're right, kicking the ball out, but so what? You just played into Wigan's hands.
Who did they miss more, Truman or Moores?
Oh, Truman, because he takes pressure off, doesn't he? He takes pressure off Gale. Nobody was there to take. And again, Matt Shane, he had a stinker. But all the big players for Cass had absolute shockers, and Dal said it himself. And it's something what I laugh at times and say, well, we'll learn from this. Learn what?
Daryl's record in big games.
Everybody mentions it.
It's not great, is it?
Everybody mentions it.
It isn't great, and he
Well,
left Webster on the bench, who was fit. And played Wardle at centre, and I thought
he's not a centre, Joe Wardle.
Well, he's
not a centre.
No, he's not.
He's not a Cass player either. He's not good enough for Cass. I think he's gone. I think he's gone as a player, Joe Wardle. But we'll be the show with Darryl Powell. He won't change his philosophy on the way he wants to play the game. It's just the players themselves have got to think, well,
It wasn't like they came out and threw it all around and they were dropping it on the wing. They couldn't even get it. So they didn't throw it around, and they didn't get an arm. They didn't do either.
Well, it's called handling pressure. Last year we saw against Leeds, they didn't handle the pressure, and this week at Wigan, they didn't handle the pressure again.
I was speaking to a couple of players, said the same thing. It's a big game come. We just
Bottled
go
it.
against everything that we know we can do.
Yeah, bottled it. Yeah.
I just wonder now, do people start thinking?
Well, I remember speaking to Matt Cook after the grand final last year, and he said they choked.
Yeah.
And you have to sort of wonder whether on Friday whether they choked again.
I think they did. I think if Shane gets that ball down over the line, it's a different game, but he didn't.
Well, exactly, he didn't.
You were just saying.
I don't rub it.
You were saying about.
By the way, hold on. By the way, all the way home, Mr. Bloody Wakefield here in the car. They're rubbish.
Oh yeah, we're going to finish.
Cass are rubbish. We're going to finish above Cass. Cass have gone. They'll never make the top four again. He was here. He was weighing in.
Window of opportunity.
I nearly dropped him off at Birch Services. Either that or that big reservoir.
We've got that big reservoir, all right.
Swim hard.
I can't swim. The window of opportunity is small for these clubs, and Castleford might have missed it. I genuinely believe that. I said it at the start of the season. I'm not changing my mind now. You said about Castleford and St Helens and the way they played rugby this season, and when they got to the semi-final, they lost. Hasn't that been the mark of the 2018 Wigan side? Because you remember last year, the reason why Mr. Wade no longer answers Mr. Schofield's goals, because there's no plan B, but throughout the season Wigan have played differently this year, but come to the big game where you have to play more conservatively, they did that, and they stifled Castleford, and they won.
Just a point Dawn's made here. So Ollie Gildart kept Shenton quiet. Great effort. Manfredi outstanding again. Huge comeback. Not lost any pace. I thought that. I thought Gildart was outstanding.
Yeah.
But Michael Shenton had a torn knee ligament and shouldn't have been playing. So when you actually look at that, I agree, Gildart. I like Gildart. I think he's a great little player. But Shenton was one of the few that shouldn't have. I said to you when he got injured at Wakefield, it was written all over his face. That were his season.
Why did he play then? Why wasn't Webster starting out then?
Because that's the Michael Shenton's captain. I mean, he didn't let anyone. I don't think he was certainly not the worst, but he played.
Yeah, he won the threat.
He played with a torn MCL.
Yeah, but he won the threat.
He played with a torn MCL.
Well, what's he doing playing with a torn MCL? He's not a
Well,
threat. is he?
maybe they were so
Cooper
busted,
Cronk
Gary.
done with a broken scapula.
Oh, you're talking different class here, John. You're talking different class.
I think it's.
I could have done a Cooper Cronk for Lee yesterday. I made myself available for Lee yesterday. I could have done a Cooper Cronk. Got him out of the field.
I actually heard.
Honestly.
They said if we can break your shoulder, then you can play. And someone had a lump hammer ready.
Squad number 52.
I think if you
What
do my
squad
me
number
next
would
to
you
you,
be?
but anyway.
What squad number would you be?
I'm not bothered. Oh, I would have had to have number 6. Of course I would.
Well, he got
That's
one.
when I played.
666. Five sixes.
Hey, honestly, I was serious. I made myself available. I wanted Lee to fulfil that fixture. Yeah, and I spoke to the commercial director and I said, Mike Latham, I made myself available. I made myself available to play.
Disaster.
Who plays the Sydney Roosters then in the World Club Challenge? But it being the qualifier this weekend. Will the World Club Challenge happen in 2019? Wigan, of course, have been to Australia this year and made it to the grand final, which was the excuse, of course, from Hull and everyone else. But will there be a World Club Challenge in 2019?
I don't know.
That's a very I did a story a couple of weeks ago and there'd been literally no discussions about it. And I think if Melbourne won the grand final, there's probably a little chance because they wouldn't be trying. But in fairness to the Roosters, obviously coached by a former Super League coach as well, Trent Robinson, they've come over a few times, so it is a good chance, and it should be played over here, considering it was in Australia this year. So hopefully we do, because I think it's important that fixture keeps going.
Yeah. Dawn, by the way, has come back and said, I didn't know he was injured, fair point. Dawn, I still thought Gildart had a fantastic game. It wasn't, it's more, not making an excuse for Cass, but there were reasons. But even so, I think the way they played wouldn't have made any difference. I just think we're going to still be there tackling them now, wouldn't they? They're absolutely not bothered. That one when they got him in the corner and they shoved it, I just thought, you're not going to score.
Yeah, Greggy in there, and the 4 players at Wigan defence, sensational. But that's Wigan for you.
Yeah, I compare them to an army, Wigan. They're well drilled. They clearly do what they're told to do. They keep doing it until they can do it no more, and they're ruthless when they get the chance. They'll take it. You know,
but also
I could see it being. I could see they can play both ways.
Oh yeah, they can. They can play both ways. But also as well, how well is he playing, Sam Tompkins?
Yeah.
How well is he playing? You know,
back to his best.
As I say, easily back to his best, and surely he's got to be the number 1 for England in the Test series coming up there. But he is sensational from a point of view where it's communication at fullback from there, not just his positional play, but his defence, but also to the option he brings in attack as well. And the added bonus of the goal kicking, his drop kicking. At this moment, it's sensational.
How hard is he going to be to replace?
It's not Sean Winn's problem, is it? It's Adrian Ham's problem. And then obviously
we said earlier in the year, I think he's a better player, Tompkins, now.
He's
the
all
one
round
left
player.
Wigan to go
He's
the
an
NRL.
all-round
I
player.
just think he's a complete rugby player.
I'll tell you what, they get a quality player, the Catalan Dragons. There's no two ways about it. They are.
Oh, we know exactly what we're going to get. Andrew says the NRL have put it on the calendar, this World Club Challenge for next year. So that's good.
Then he did that though after Melbourne lost. Sorry.
couple on Gildart. Matching on together. That's why is he not in the England squad, but Riesling is. And on a similar point, Tony says, why is he going to Papua New Guinea? Gildart, that is. He should be in against the Kiwis to enable Bateman to play second row. Someone asked us earlier who thinks is going to win Man of Steel. And
who would you vote for if you had a vote? All right, then we'll go around the room. Who would you vote for?
Out of the three, it's difficult, isn't it? Because we said about James Roby that you don't notice how good he is because of how good he is constantly. In the same way that people didn't want Sean O'Loughlin to be in the dream team, but that's the reason why he is. And he showed that on Friday night how important he is. And if Castle had had someone like him, perhaps there'd been a different result. John Bateman. I spent a bit of time actually watching him on Friday, and
Well, you stalker.
Yeah. When you,
That's all your updates like. John Bateman's tiny shoelace. John Bateman's getting a drink.
when you see him, and it's the cliche about him now, is it how he plays far above his body weight and size. He's exactly what you would want in a rugby league player.
Yeah. Who would you vote for, John?
I think not Thursday, not discolouring it, but I think Barber. But I think actually Bateman will get a vote personally. I think Barber for me.
Yeah, Bateman for me. As I said in my comment today when I've done the assessment of all the players who are playing this weekend in the grand final, he's a freak of rugby league player. He's everything you want in a rugby league player. You know, with ball in hand, defensive wise, communication, upsetting the opposition. He's just an absolute. When you look at the size of the guy, he's just an absolute freak. I bet I bet it's a pleasure to coach him.
Oh.
You know what you get. You have to say to John Bateman, hey, make sure you get some more weights on there, or make sure that you run quicker here, or make sure you don't. You have to tell John Bateman that. You have to tell him that because he'll just do it.
Well,
He'll just do it.
I don't know what his training's like, but I know that when Sean Wayne gives him a shirt to wear, he knows exactly what he's getting.
There was a big debate on Twitter on Friday night. Phil Wilkinson from the Wigan local paper, can't remember which one it is.
Observer.
Thank you very much. Posted a great picture of Bateman at the side of the pitch while he's in the tunnel looking out. It's a great picture, and there was a big debate on it afterwards saying he's going to fail in the NRL, and Phil saying no, he's not. How is he going to do in the NRL? Scotty, obviously you have been out in Australia. How is John Bateman going to do?
It's going to be an interesting one to see where Ricky plays him. You know, if he's going to play him in the centre or if he's going to put him in the second row. You know, he's certainly got the best out of Hodgson and certainly Whitehead as well. He's got the best out of him there. So depends where he's going to play him. But one thing for sure, John Bateman will take on the challenge because when you look at the stature of Bateman, you look at some of the big guys in the NRL, you'd think, well, surely he can't compete with them. Hey, listen, we see it every week with John Bateman.
Well, you always say that, don't you, Si? You've got to be big to play in the NRL. He's not big.
No, it doesn't matter with John Bateman. However he gets his strength, I don't really know, to be honest with you. And this is why he's a freak. And I reckon he will be a success in the NRL, without a doubt.
I think he'll do well. He won't play in the centres at Canberra because they've got Croker and Leilua. Leilua is the Dally M centre of the year. Yeah. He'll be in the forward pack with Elliot Whitehead. I think he'll do well. I think it'll be an adjustment for him, but it'll suit his game.
It'll be a huge adjustment.
That physicality.
That physicality, yeah.
That speed. The speed of the
because the great thing what Canberra have done, certainly, is it Pete Mulholland who's at Canberra?
Yes, I think so.
Pete Mulholland, yeah. And to say with Sticky as well, Ricky Stewart, they've identified the British talent. So if they've identified the British talent and the talent what they've got, he ain't going to take it away from him. He's seen exactly what John Bateman can do. So he's not going to take that away from him. That's why they get the best out of him, and he will be. He will be a sensation in the NRL.
You're getting a tea
time, is it?
Tea time.
It is half time. For our podcast listeners, half time. Neil's upset by the use of language. Doesn't like the word roster instead of squad. Well, sometimes they can have a squad.
Yeah.
Is it? I know it's an Americanism, roster, but
it is.
On Toronto, people still moaning about the music they play all the time at games. Not knowing that's part of North American culture in sport, and that they are different. Oh,
is that me? Is it?
Yeah, I think so.
Obviously, Mark, you're.
I always wonder what colour this is.
You were a fan of Bradford Bulls as was. Not
yes.
The new Bradford Bulls.
Promotion winning Bradford Bulls. Shut the door, legend. Come on, what's happening? Well, the one in the hall.
People see on YouTube. Bad camera angle. Old Bradford Bulls. I'm okay, thank you. I'll have one afterwards.
Thank you.
Old Bradford Bulls, of course. Bradford Northern before, when they were rubbish in the winter, and then they changed to Bull Mania and crowds came, and obviously they started winning games and stuff. But part of the reason why people probably went was because it was more of an entertaining afternoon, just watching Bradford Northern, who were a bit rubbish, and all that entertainment stuff added to it, and that's how you get people in. People moan that no one goes to watch rugby because all we sell is 80 minutes. We don't sell anything but. We have to try other things. Well, I see students can get cheap tickets to the grand final.
Another biscuit, John.
And they can go to the official after party. We need to say well done Richard Whiting, who's retiring. He says on Facebook. If you've got any other words that annoy you though, Neil, get in touch.
Is that Toronto Richard Whiting? But also, I believe, well, they announced it. I haven't seen it confirmed, but they announced, I think it was Bill Arthur announced that Corey Patterson is retiring as well. So already that's two Toronto players that they'll
well, so they should, the journeyman. Anyway, so they should. But also as well.
That's a bit harsh.
No, it's not. Do you know, You know, as well.
I love it next week.
If
We're
the game-
deeply announced a signing.
Sorry?
Brett Delaney.
Oh yeah, Leeds Rhinos, but yeah. Be a right second row, won't it? Pairing that Whiting and Thompson at Leeds, won't it? The back row, but what I'm saying, you know, if the game, all right, we know we've got Sky, and for me it should be one game a week, and the rest should be Sunday afternoon. Like when I first went to Australia in '85, we're talking about events now, keeping people there, and getting people there. Everybody, you know, Sunday afternoons, 12 o'clock the academy kick off, 1:30 the reserve kick off, and then 3 o'clock there. That just gets the crowd, it gets the crowd in, keeps the people in from there, and there's your numbers. Why don't we look at that? Why don't we look at that to get people back into watching rugby league? But the most important fact I'm saying is, we needed to go back to Sunday afternoon rugby league at 3 o'clock.
Or a women's game, or a PDRL game, or an LDRL game.
I think
Already.
scheduling is a big issue. I mean, it doesn't seem to be any research or asking the fans, you know, about when they want to see games.
No,
It's all
some of the
complaints,
fans, Southern.
and something you think the RFL should, you know, do some market research about why people aren't going to games the numbers that they used to.
I had a few people ask about the can of Stones. Dave's saying it's my drink. I won't drink this, A, because it's...
Well, some of the crap you do drink, that's
Well,
probably
yeah.
better for you.
Oh, I'll tell you, I went to what... I had the
Don't
most...
be shaking that up in
No.
here. Yeah.
This is
Have
from,
the bomb squad
it's
round.
from 1996, Dave, and yes, it is full, it's heavy. I had the most working class weekend ever. Obviously, Rugby League Thursday and Friday. Saturday, professional wrestling in Leeds. £5 for a bottle of Smirnoff Ice. Rip off, I tell
Hold
you.
on, you only have one drink here.
I know. Sunday,
That's a magic weekend.
Sunday Greyhounds. Oh, it was
Oh, you
all-
were there,
oh.
you witnessed it, didn't
Oh,
you?
yeah.
The statue. The
No,
statue.
no Chicken Cottage, though.
Have you seen that
Was
wrestling?
that this year or last year?
That was last year, the statue, yeah.
Have you seen that wrestling on Saturday afternoon on ITV?
Well, I don't want to
What
talk
an
about
absolute load of garbage.
Well, you
Honestly,
can-
innit? What an absolute load
You
of
can
garbage
say, you
it
can
is.
say that, but I know the ring announcer, so I don't want to upset him.
Oh, it's
I'll let
absolutely
you
it's
say it.
pathetic. It is. It's pathetic.
Well, it's finished now, anyway.
Is it?
Yeah.
Good.
It'd be nice if we get Rugby League on telly, but we aim ourselves at like channels no one watches and channels that binned off World Cup games to show football. So
We talk about crowds and obviously some worrying ones. What about the England-New Zealand series? Roger Tuivasa-Sheck, Dalian Player of the Year, injured, not coming. Sam Burgess, injured, not coming. How many players are missing from the England squad? It's a bit...
Exactly.
Is that, you know, do you think that could impact on the crowd?
What? That's, again,
I'm a bit
I don't
concerned.
want to go back in, but what marketing has been done?
there's on the back of
I
buses.
saw, I
Yeah,
was just going to say, I was driving in today, I saw an ad on the back of a bus for the Ellen Road game. That's the first ad I've seen.
So you saw an advert in Leeds for a game in Leeds?
Yeah, it's on the back of a bus. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
bought my tickets.
Scully
anyway,
used
so I
to have
can't
a
complain
bus.
that now.
People just threw
Scully
bricks in.
bus.
You've been harsh apparently on Richard Whiting. He's
So that's Scully. That's
good,
what it was.
honest,
Yeah.
100%
Yeah.
player where he has been and played plenty of positions. That's Derek Tomlinson. And I think you are. I think I want you to apologise to Richard Whiting.
I haven't said he's not been a good rugby league player. I'm
So
not
he's
saying
a
he's
journeyman.
He's a journeyman now. He's a journeyman now. Like a lot of them.
Sticking the boot in on him for.
I'm not sticking the boot. I'm
How
not sticking
many
the boot.
biscuits have you had? I've had one biscuit. You've had one. He ain't had one. And you've had 10.
Because I'm an athlete. It's like I'm an athlete. It's like Ulkie out with journeyman. Wellerarchy. What journeyman he is? Boy, oh boy. Anyway, that's why we don't have enough quality about. You know.
Williams watching. He supports Exeter Chiefs.
No, they're
I
good.
don't know whether
They're good.
Oh, they won the thing, didn't they?
Yeah, they are good.
He says talk some Rugby Union. No, we don't do that.
Dave says never trust a silent sneeze. I'm sure John and Rich don't want to be snotting all over their arm. I mean, come on. Matt said, by the way, our very own Matt Orton said, Widnes fan were asked when they wanted to play. He said Sunday. I thought they'd have said behind closed doors.
I am told by said Matt Horton that they had 9,000 people watching Rugby Union at Headingley or whatever, Emerald Headingley.
No, you're all right, Rich. You're all right, legend.
It's Phil Daly's watching. Emerald Headingley on Wednesday for the varsity match, which is by far the biggest crowd they'll get all season, of course. But I almost want to apply for accreditation to go watch the Carnegie just so I can go and test out the new press facilities in the South Stand. So I'm told they're very good. But there's lots of stairs to climb.
I'm amazed with Widnes. I mean, I know there's not a huge amount of players available, but they seem to be resigning most of their squad. This is a team that's won 5 or 6 out of 30 games and finished in the bottom 4 last season as well.
Did they beat the Super League team? I can't remember. Did they beat Salford or lose to Salford?
Do we know who the
lost
new?
some. Yeah, so they lost all the games.
Who's
They're
in
in
Halifax?
Halifax.
They
Yeah,
finished.
so
Halifax.
They
so
finished
far,
seventh. They
They beat
finished seventh.
Halifax and Coventry. That's the teams that beat them this year.
So do we know who's in for the coaching position anyway? Do we know? Do we know?
There's a lot of rumours. Yeah, there's rumours that it is and it isn't. There's rumours Brian McDermott as well. Tony Smith.
Rumours Paul
Richard
Rowland.
Marshall. Wow.
There you go.
Apparently, Tim says the Hull Daily Mail has been plugging the internationals all year, so there should be a big crowd in Hull. No excuses. There was an advert in Chester Station, says Daniel, for the Liverpool game.
Bro.
Roy says prices are a bit. The prices are a bit pricey at the KC or the KCOM, whatever it's called. If you're a member of the Our League app, and I'm not sponsored by the Our League app, you get a £5 off because I bought tickets for the game in Leeds with a £5 off. So
How much did you pay?
I've got whole concessions.
Hang on.
It's supposed to be £12.50.
What are you saying? You're 60.
No, but I'm off in the. I'll be in the press bit, won't I? Well, I'll play anyway. I got in there for the rugby union.
Just being blackballed.
Well, yeah, exactly. It depends on what I say later. It's supposed to be £12.50, got them for £7.50, which is ridiculous. So these are the cheapest tickets you can get. 25 quid, you get knocked off, so 20 quid for an adult for an international game.
I
20
think
quid's
that's
not
pretty
too
good.
much, is it?
That's
It's not small
pretty
to watch
good.
Wakefield at Bellevue.
Yeah.
Well, by Rocky Station on the rugby league.
Dawn says you're a girl because you drink Smirnoff Ice.
Yes, that's all right.
Dawn, when you've seen Richard drinking.
Yeah.
Don't get around with him, I learned.
Don't be.
Well, no, if you're getting around with Rich, make him buy the first one. Because after that, he's pagged.
What's all this drink shaming? What's all this drink shaming? Oh, so Matt, having watched Witness all season, says they only beat Halifax, Coventry, Salford, Leeds, and Catalan.
They beat Leeds.
Sounds about right.
And you know what? On game one, they stuffed Catalans. I was there. They stuffed them.
How amazing a year turns out to be. Yeah, on the Our League app, says Steve, you can get 3 for 2 if you go to all the tests, or £5 off a ticket, as usual, very limited promotion. Yeah. We do the wrong things, don't we? Sometimes, for the wrong reasons, but more on that. Lots of people saying John Bateman. John says, why don't the RFL put a live game on normal TV like Rugby Union do on Channel 5? I think as Phil said in the past, the RFU pay for that, or the Premiership, or whoever. They've got their highlights programme on, I think, right now, because they can afford to give it away. We have it on, well, I don't know how much.
I think that is something they will look at moving forward. I think they will say to Sky, you can have the first 4 picks of the games, but we want one to be able to put on the telly. I think they've got to do that. Or stream themselves.
How much the BBC pay for the right to show the Super League show at midnight in the north?
But I think as a sport, Rich, we've got to be braver and we've got to say
exactly.
to the BBC, if you're having it, right, that's great, but it's on nationally, it's on at a reasonable hour, and we want X, Y, and Z. I think we too, the BBC are great. I'm not saying they're great, and we've always said we had the wins, didn't we? We went on 2 instead of 1. How important it is to be on the BBC. We get that. It's not an anti-BBC thing. But I also think we've got to be a bit more robust and say, this is what we want from you, and if you're not prepared to give it, then we'll go somewhere else.
We should be saying, and I know, do you want me to talk about the Our League app?
Hey, by the way, I saw Brian Barwick.
Yeah,
I saw Brian Barwick.
The ghost.
You remember, you know the same, where were you when JFK got shot? I remember where I was when I saw Brian Barwick.
What on a bus?
No, he was the Warrington game.
Yeah,
St Helens.
Well, he was on telly last week with Steve on the with London game when London played Halifax.
There you go.
Yeah, so it does take an interest.
He's earning his salary.
Well, no,
Oh,
come on.
Turning up
John,
again.
doing
Come
it
on.
all.
Stop taking them.
How good is the RFL sending out tickets to the grand final with use the rail instead, with National Rail adverts inside? I won't use the bloody train to get to Old Trafford.
Well, it's cancelled, isn't it?
Yeah,
If
it's
you're in
not-
Wigan,
not
you
there.
can't go on the train.
Yeah.
Not after that World Cup final in 2013, that was a disgrace. We mentioned the Super League show and whatever and scheduling on the BBC, but we need to use them more in terms of putting stuff on their website. We were, along with Proper Sport, part of a team who put together the Women's Challenge Cup final on the telly and on the internet and on apps and this and that and the other. Apparently got record figures.
It
we're
did
told.
get record. It did. Yeah, we've been told that. Clearly, it did. It was on the front page of the BBC website for about 3 days.
Never got thanked. Not bitter about that whatsoever.
No.
But we've had the semi-finals this week of the Women's Super League, which I'm sure were great games. One of them was on the app, wasn't it? The Leeds-Wigan game. And Leeds-Castleford game. And congratulations to Leeds and Wigan on making the final. Shame it's at a bloody stupid time for people who want to watch both games on Saturday. And I understand they want to drive people towards the Hour League app. But that should have been on the BBC website for people to watch because they'll show anything. They're showing roller skating from the Youth Olympics this morning. We need to get our game out there to more people.
On Sky, I don't know if it was Thursday or Friday night after the semi-final, they cut to some championships of gaming.
Yes,
people playing video.
Esports. So you can watch it on the telly.
There was no analysis after the original. I think the one interview with the coach, and player. There was no post-game show. It was video games.
But we're hitting the wrong things. We've gone, and I tweeted this the other day. We've gone from showing nothing at all online at the start of the season, and obviously you know where we've come from. You know where we are now. The deal between Bradford Bulls and Proper Sport obviously was a great deal because the numbers were very good when we were part of it and still continued in that way, and that paved the way almost for everything that's followed this year. And yet we come to the end of the season and we're limiting things to the Hour League app. The England-France game next week. Why is that only on the app? We should be saying to the BBC, right, you're not going to be on BBC Two, fair enough, because we can understand that. But put it on your website. They showed the England-Brazil women's game on Saturday lunchtime, which will get a bigger crowd than England and France at League, which is ridiculous, but there you go. We should be saying, yeah, put it on the BBC website, because then more eyes will watch it, and then you put in halfway through. And don't forget, if you want to watch England versus New Zealand, it's on the BBC, but B, come and buy tickets. But we're putting it on the app. We're spending too much time, and one would assume if we're spending time and we're spending money as a sport, promoting the wrong things. We've got a vibrant women's competition, which isn't perfect, but it's getting there, and the players and the teams and the coaches deserve the respect of being broadcast to a wider audience. We've got the PDRL, we've got the LDRL, which are growth areas we can actually grow in rugby league. And what are we doing on the app? We're spending time, and no disrespect to amateur rugby league, but the only people who care about those teams, suburb of Leeds versus suburb of Hull or Cumbria or whatever, are the people involved, because people aren't bothered. You look at the viewing figures for Free Sport this year, and you can see most weeks those national conference games don't make the top 10. The money is being wasted by whoever it is. If the RFL are putting it on their app, they're probably paying something for it or doing something in return. It is a waste of resource when we've got actual products, the Women's Rugby League, the LDRL, the PDRL, the Championship, League One, that we can try and monetise or try and get out there to a bigger audience, and yet we're wasting it on the wrong things. What is the point of showing the Yorkshire men's finals the other week? I don't understand. No disrespect.
This is what happens when he has a drink of Smirnoff. This is what happens, you see.
Don't say
You're all laughing.
No,
Just imagine if you'd have a pint of export, it'd have killed
Well, I'll
someone.
tell you what, if that's from 1996, don't let him open that Stones. Jeez.
Let him have a sniff of it. Have you done?
I think so. I get frustrated because we've got great products out there and we're wasting them. And we've missed the boat on Women's Rugby League. And we've said this before.
Yeah.
And without going into the specifics, if it hadn't been for your pushing, I don't think that coverage of the Challenge Cup final.
Well, it wouldn't have happened. No, it wouldn't have happened. But hopefully it's made them realise the product that they've got. And we mentioned the Proper Sport League. Great coverage all year on the Bulls. I think it's a groundbreaker. And all them people that laugh when we said streaming's the future, the Man United chief exec came out and went, it's going to be streaming, that's what's going to happen. We see more and more deals, you can watch more and more things online. See, it's happening, John, isn't it?
Oh, it is
happening.
It is.
But I agree with Rich. Have we gone now? Also, we had nothing on, and now let's put everything on.
I think you put your best products on, available. Not every product.
Yeah.
Because not everyone can watch every product either. I mean,
the Women's Rugby League as well. They've had on the BBC website reports on the Premiership 15 or whatever it's called, the women's competition, the rugby union competition. Why has there been no press release from the RFL or Super League or whoever runs the Women's Super League about the results yesterday that people can just copy and paste onto their website?
How patronising was the rumour? Oh, we should all support Women's Rugby League. Right. Anyone that's been to watch Women's Rugby League, I think we've all seen it live and in the flesh. We've all promoted the game. It's a great game.
Yeah,
you don't need to tell us, let's go along and show our support. That women's game, in my opinion, next weekend, right, should be in Manchester. Should be a heading or whatever, or
I was going
whatever.
to ask, why isn't it?
Why
isn't
not a
it
double
before,
header
Old
with a
Trafford?
Swinton? All right, yeah. Why is it not?
I mean, I imagine it's just purely a cost. You know,
I would
rent the
imagine
venue for a few more hours. Stewards.
well,
Give Jose a reason to moan about the pitch.
I think it's probably so he can.
He's
have
not.
one game
He's
on it.
yeah, manhunting.
My
Mourinho.
point is, why is that not on the double header with Swinton instead of
Yeah.
the old let's toss a coin? That's it. Why don't you just say, I'll tell you what, right? No, we're going all in. Win or lose, heads or tails. We can't be bothered. Heads
They
or
should have got the
tails.
roulette wheel to do it.
Oh yeah, exactly. But why is it not double header? Give them the big stage. Realistically, no one went to Warrington to watch the cup final. No one's going to go to Manchester
I want to go, but
and
it's
not watch the
logistically
grand
impossible.
final. Give them the stage that they deserve.
Yeah.
Say with record crowd, it's free to get. If you've got a season ticket anywhere, you can come for free, whatever it is.
But
Get
again, it's where the game falls down, isn't it? You know, promoting and marketing and sport. We just fall down miserably
yeah,
in doing it.
yeah, I agree.
Massive problem for the game.
I agree.
Promoting and marketing.
Yeah, I think they just missed the trick, and I just thought that was a bit patronising, that release from Rimmer.
God, make
Come
sure
and
you
support
support.
the
Come on, the
Wolves.
women are trying.
Mate,
Come
do
on,
as
come
they
support.
It's a standalone product. It's not,
Yeah.
you know, oh, this is just a nod to, you know,
Well,
women's rights, whatever.
Yeah,
it's
it's not-
actually a product in
it's-
its own
yeah,
right.
It's not
Yeah.
filling. It's not a filling. It's not a filling gap. You know,
Yeah.
it's nice.
Yeah.
Because I tell you what, they take it bloody well serious,
They
the
do.
ladies.
But yeah,
They do.
But yeah, when we
We-
were talking about the rights for Women's Super League, and if we, again, they're not blowing smokers on backside, we wouldn't have asked it, I doubt they'd still be getting filmed now, but we used to watch the plan for next year, how many teams are going to be? Oh, we don't know that. It's like, right, okay, so once again, we don't know what the plan is for longer than the end of his arm, we don't know what we're going to do with it, and it's like, come on, we've got to be better than that,
Yeah, exactly.
we've got to
Just
be
no
better.
vision. No
No awareness,
strategy.
no vision,
No.
rubbish.
Robin says that the Leeds Castleford game yesterday was better than some games in Super League you've seen this year, which I can certainly believe, having been at Leeds Toronto the other week. Andy's asked why we've got Wakefield tracky bottoms on the wall. They're not. It's a Western Samoa tracksuit top, which you can't see on Facebook, but you can on YouTube.
Yeah.
Phil's got some great stuff. He's got more talent.
Who's
that
for that
Phil,
anyway?
is
Did
it?
Phil say whose top was it?
I don't know. Who do we know who played for Western
DB
Samoa?
Bitter, I used to drink that when I was in New Zealand. DB
Any
Bitter.
good?
What did you have about?
They're not known for their beer.
What
I
Yeah,
prefer Red Lion.
Yeah,
for
what do you have?
once, or Lion Red even.
What a game about 3 cans. 3 cans, I've had enough.
William says we should go to BT. They do a great job covering rugby union. I don't watch
Okay.
it. Don't watch it. What I will say is, and this is again something Sky do well, in their coverage of the Rugby Union Championship, if they pair it up with a women's game, they put that on before, it saves you having to go to 2 different stadiums to show one product, and gets double the amount of output.
I
Again, we
thought it
can't
looked
put
good
our-
last night, the £1 million game. I didn't listen to it because I was at work, so I had it on, but I couldn't listen to it. But I thought it looked better having it in a studio.
Yeah,
Did it
it
not?
did
Did it
actually.
not?
Yeah, I liked it
But
this
it looked a
year.
bit crisper, didn't it?
The one issue, and obviously they've rented cameras in Canada, but there's going to be one camera. Because when that video referee, which took about 35 minutes, it was one camera, and you couldn't see whether the shot was because there was no zoom. It's like surely in this day and age,
Yeah, but also as well,
we have more than one.
yeah, but
camera.
John, when you saw that, why did it take so long? It
It
was
was
clearly
offside. Yeah, I know.
It was,
Yeah.
well, not just him. Everybody went
Yeah.
offside. So
Yeah.
why did it take so long?
No
Pathetic
idea.
again.
Yeah.
Elsewhere, Toby's asked us why is Phil at Man of Steel Awards? Yes. Why haven't we been invited? Because we didn't invite us.
Yeah.
Is it what
We
we
got
want?
not
invited
important
once.
enough.
We got invited once, but never again.
No free bar. I was disappointed.
It's not a free bar.
Yeah.
It's not a
No,
free bar.
that's what I mean. Yeah.
It's
If
not
I'd
a
have been
bar.
a free bar, Sco would have been there, like hanging
I don't get
outside.
invited. Even though I'm a past winner, not get invited.
Them glasses did it. Honestly.
You can tell it's
You'll get sponsored by Winderling if you want.
Salford and their signings last week. We mentioned Jackson Hastings earlier, but he signed up. He's not going to Wigan. He's staying at Salford. England's Jackson
It's
Hastings.
been interesting seeing a lot of bitterness from
Yeah.
Wigan fans that he's lacks ambition and etc.
Well, to be honest with you, Jackson Hastings, he only wants a 12-month deal because he wants to go back to the NRL. So all he's
But
doing-
so what if they get a great year out of it? What's wrong with that?
yeah, but at the end of the day, that's his preference, isn't it? With the Wigan fans going mad, but that's all he's doing. He's using the Super League to get himself back in the NRL. That's all he's doing.
But you were unhappy with Ben Barner doing the same thing.
No, again, they're just using our game, aren't they?
Hold on,
Using
hold
our
on,
game.
hold on. What did you go to the Winfield Cup for?
To make Balmain a better side.
Right, so we're not to do with the money then.
No, not really. Money never motivated.
Well, that's an unfair question.
Yeah, money never motivated me. To
Well, what, you went for the money though, didn't you? Sure.
No.
He didn't go to win titles, I know that.
Well, if he did.
A bit harsh, Mr. Davison. A bit harsh. Hey, we got robbed by Mick Stone. It was never a forward pass against Canterbury in the corner. Never a forward pass. And then we later found out he was a Canterbury supporter, the referee, Mick Stone.
Outrage.
Yeah, we found out. Yeah, he was a Canterbury. You remember Mick Stone, the referee?
I do, yeah.
He was a Canterbury supporter. It was never a forward pass.
No, I think it's great that Hastings is staying. It's good, you don't want all the good players at one club. That's what a salary cap's supposed to do, is spread the talent, and great for Salford. I think it's good too. He's been really
Well,
outstanding.
the kid can play. He's proved that. The kid can play. He's a quality player. Yeah, Kevin.
He played for Barra, apparently.
Did he? Because he played with the Roosters.
Legend of the Roosters.
Was he hooker loose forward?
Halfback, I think.
Oh, was he? But yeah, I played against his old man. Yeah, Kevin. Yeah, good player. Yeah, tough song so. He liked to get ripped in and get stuck in, his old man. Yeah.
Chris says at the Trailfinders clubhouse last night, the first thing that happened after the game, after a bit of leaping about, was the MC reading out a congratulatory text from the legend. Well, speaking of said legend, obviously
Did a riot there for him.
Speaking of the fact that we've obviously come off a weekend where Liam Featherston have got no players, Workington Town, who now have to travel to Swinton, have no players. Are you putting your hand up for them?
Yeah, you could do, couldn't you?
No.
No, because it's at Swinton. If it had been up in Workington, I'd have gone to. I'm not going to Swinton. I'd have gone to Workington. It's a better night out.
You're not going to Swinton. What type of team player are you? Where are you playing? Swinton. Puts phone down.
If it had been in Workington, it's a better night out. So I'd have gone to work. I'd have played up in Workington.
Congratulations, Bradford.
Yes.
Well done, you
Well
won
done.
promotion.
By the way, Rich, were the London fans pretty happy with the message what I sent? I congratulate again,
I could-
Mr. Hughes and Danny Ward and.
I assume so. I mean, they spent half the time winding you up, didn't they, on Twitter last night?
Yeah.
And they don't know, so it's all right.
Well, also-
I think a song broke out and it went along the lines of Gary Schofield is a
Good man. Gary Schofield is a good man. Oh, he's a legend. He's a legend. Come on, join in, fellas. Join in.
Well, we were leading the chant.
Great rugby league highlights of the weekend, of course. Going to Wigan Castleford was Ben Thaler signing autographs for kids before the game and after the match, walking out the ground, and he was taking photos.
we were waiting in the queue to get our ticket, and Rob Hicks come up and he was with James Child and said, "Oh, good game. Yeah, I thought you had a good game last night, mate." And
This was after the game, obviously.
No, before. This is after Thursday, before Friday. We're at Wigan waiting in the queue.
All right.
Well done, Rob. Thought you had a great game, mate. And then James Child comes up and said, "Oh, you reffing tonight?" He went, "Oh no, I'm reserve." I went, "Ben's reffing." I went, "Oh, where is he?" He went, "He's over there signing autographs." I went, "Referee shouldn't have a sense of humour." He went, "No, he is. Look, he's over there signing autographs." And he was.
Yeah.
He was.
Taking pictures with the
Some
kids.
people, I don't know.
Ben Thaler.
And then after having his picture taken with all these little lads,
Bill
he's
Harrison.
a legend.
Hollywood.
He's a new legend.
Well, to be honest with you,
Hollywood Ben Thaler.
You need to get a suntan legend like Ben Taylor.
To be honest with you, them people who were asking a referee for their autograph have got a bit disillusioned.
I think they were kids, these teams on telly is famous.
I couldn't care less of the kids at all. Asking referees for the autograph, what's all that about?
Well,
Referees,
to
you
be
go
fair-
to games, you don't get noticed, you do
to
your
be
job,
fair-
have your bite to it, you get yourself back down
To be
M62.
fair, when Ben is refereeing, you do see a lot of him on the telly. Oh, Ben, if you listen, we mean it.
Do you know who's got the...
Has he had a manicure or something? Because his hair looks all nice and all that sort of thing. Eh?
Smart lad, isn't he?
One thing I did found interesting before the Million Pound game was all these people coming out, "I want London to win, and most of them are the same people who would complain about London and they don't bring any away fans next year and before.
The North News scapegoat.
Yeah.
They are here. They
will turn next year against London.
Who do we think will get the grand final? Referee Hicks or
I think Hicks has been really good this season.
He did Wembley, didn't he? So do they give it to the same? Will they give it to the same guy? Did he do Wembley Hicks? Did he?
Yeah, he did.
He did, yeah.
Can I ask, did the referee it differently this weekend?
No cards in playoffs.
Well,
Hashtag.
no, I'm asking that question, right? And you know what? I thought there were, certainly the game on Thursday was a better game for it being, we say it all the time, let it flow. Should Luke Gale have been sin-binned? If that had been a league game for me, he gets sin-binned at least every day of the week.
Yeah.
But did it take away anything from the games? I don't think it did.
On Thursday, watching it, I was just thinking Warrington were lying all over Saints in the ruck. They could have been pinged about 3 or 4. But if he's going to let it flow and both teams are allowed to do that, then fair enough. I don't think it didn't affect the game, but yeah, there was a lot of a very slow play the ball.
Okay. About you, Ledge? You think it were refereed differently this week?
It is, yeah, it is. But as I said, we don't, as John's mentioned there, and I think you look at Wigan the way they defend. They're always, they will always get 3 and 4 in the tackle, and they will make sure they're putting you on the deck. So Wigan are looking for 6-7 second play of the balls and this sort of thing. But as long as it's not a stop-start game, it's the same for both sides. I don't mind it.
Very good.
Hicks Ref of the Year says Dave.
Yeah, we've said that a couple of months
Yeah,
ago.
I
We
think
thought he's had a
yeah.
great year. I think refs have ups and downs. I thought maybe last year before he wanted his best. I think he's been outstanding this year. I really do.
Robbie says Feather have got no players, but they just won 8 and 8 in the Shield, 9 from 9 with the winning Toronto. Players have been absolute warriors. Only twice have we had 17 players. I don't know whether.
I'm not sure that's anything to be proud of. Is it?
No. Maybe we should get rid of them.
Or is it?
Guys, then. I don't know. But
I don't know.
well done, Fev. You've won a bit of tin.
A bit of tap. We could have gone on the table of tap.
Yeah.
Couldn't
Well,
it,
this is the Subbuteo League Leaders Championship Shield.
Is it?
Yeah.
Alright, okay. I thought it was satellite.
Well, it is. For
Hey,
the
listen,
purposes of this programme, it's the
Listen,
Championship
it's
Shield.
the so-called best consistent side of the season. They've only won the same, a bit of tat. St Helens. That's all they've done. The nearly club.
You
the
said
nearly
they were
side.
going to win the treble.
Hey, the nearly club. The nearly. Well, they should have done. But they bottled it. And they played. They bottled it, and they just didn't play the right sort of game plan.
Next year they'll have Coot coming in. They've got Joseph Paulo, Alex Normsey should be back. A few of those young guys. Richardson will be a bit older. Grace, a bit more experience. You think next year?
Well, I think next year
They'll be a bit stronger.
I think next year who could maybe make the 5 would be the Giants
Giants.
and the Catalan Dragons.
Reece Butterworth signing for.
I mean, Wigan could struggle because of all the change from AJ Lance point of view. He was only there for 12 months with Wayne going and the quality players. So next year, I'm making the statement now that the Giants and the Catalans could make forget about Leeds. They not forget about Hull. They're not. Saints over there about Warrington, but Wigan could struggle because of all the turnaround. But next year it could be the Giants and the Catalans.
Wigan have still got to sort out the heartache issue. I think it's Thursday's court appearances.
Well, we don't need to talk about that idiot, do we? To be honest with you.
Next week.
Yeah.
Post grand final, pre international special. I'll get the Emerging Nations World Cup results up because everyone likes that. World Championship is not called that. And Spain beat Russia at the weekend in a big European Championship Group B game. Also, I can't remember what it is.
You're making that up, aren't
No.
you? You just made that up.
No, they did. It was on YouTube.
Why do we want to talk about that?
France played Serbia because international rugby is the pinnacle.
I saw that bloke get wiped out in the France-Serbia game, didn't he?
Oh,
That
I
looked
didn't miss it,
tasty,
did he?
didn't it? Jeez.
Went to knock the ball on and he just got absolutely nailed.
I tell you what, we're playing the Test match there next Wednesday at Leigh. What do you think? What do we think the crowd will be there? Do you think the Leigh fans will come out, or do you think they'll just be totally fed up about watching rugby league? Or
5,000.
what do we think? Do people go and watch it?
Well, the fact that it's also on
Bearing in mind, we've just been mentioning crowds. Wigan fans fell their ground. Saints and Warrington walked over from there. So were Wigan, Saints and Warrington fans, Lancashire people, where they travel to Leigh
As I said last week,
to watch an international game?
the England women's football team got 7,500 against Brazil on TV. I'm not sure we'll get 7,000 against France. And
Has it been shown on TV?
it's on the Our League app.
You
As,
can watch
as,
it on
as,
your phone.
as Johnson, it's on the app. You can watch
Even
it
on
for
your
free at home.
little Nokia thing, you better watch it.
CFAX. You can watch it on
Watch
CFAX.
it on CFAX.
You can watch it at home for free.
Hey, don't criticise CFAX. CFAX is up to date now. That's where I got all my information from. I don't use that Gmail. What's on that stupid phone of mine? CFAX. 1-300. You get all what you want.
CFAX.
What are you laughing at, Dave?
I think
What are you laughing at, Mr. Davidson?
the last time England played France at Leigh 2 or 3 years ago, didn't England win 80-0?
Oh, what 8 points was it?
France are good now.
Did Tompkins score
No,
5 tries?
Casti, no.
Oh, well.
Did Tompkins score 5 tries that day?
I think everyone scored 5 tries that day.
It is the give Reece Lynn and Tom Johnson the cap though game, so that's good.
Come on, give us these results.
Yeah,
You're blasting off about
so
it.
last week, Nui beat Malta 26-16 and the Philippines 24-12, so they and Malta are through. Greece edged out Vanuatu 38-0. Hungary beat them.
They edged them out 38-0.
Hungary beat them
It was a
18-13.
close game.
And in Pool C, which is the one with all the top teams in, Turkey beat Japan 60-0. Poland beat Hong Kong 62-6. The Solomon Islands beat Hong Kong 32-12. And Poland beat Japan 38-6. We've now got the bowl competition in which the Solomon Islands take on Hong Kong and Japan. And the trophy semi-finals, which are on Wednesday, Philippines-Turkey and Vanuatu versus Poland. And I think they're live on Bar TV Sports or something on YouTube. Yeah. The final then comes up at the... oh, that's the trophy. Sorry, the cup. Proper semi-finals. Niue versus Greece. Hungary-Malta. So we could get a repeat of that Hungary-Greece game in the final on the 13th of October. What a day for rugby league it's going to be on Saturday. Women's Grand Final, Championship Grand Final, the Emerging Nations World Championship, and Wigan versus Warrington. A big day for rugby league.
Malta are missing their star man, Jared
Well,
Sumner.
yeah, maybe he can fly out there now.
With his Cockney accent.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Maybe he's not allowed to play now.
Yeah.
Because he's from London.
What is he? He's out of contract. Where's he going to play?
Surely they're going to keep it.
Surely
I mean,
they're
he was the dude. Him and Alex Walker were the.
Well,
difference.
he dropped that. Did he drop the goal against Widnes on the opening day?
Yeah.
Good
By the way, the
good
fullback
player,
broke his. Didn't he break his hand or something? Dislocated 3 of his fingers.
Who, Walker?
He fought in the
Did he?
first minute. He broke and dislocated 3 fingers,
Wow.
and he still played well, didn't
That tackle, the
Oh.
match winner.
he?
Fantastic.
Amazing, absolutely amazing. So yeah, keep your tweets coming in at 4020 Live. You can get in touch on Facebook and on YouTube as well if you want to get stuck into the legend all and more. Welcome. Don't forget to download, subscribe, and like our podcast. Available on iTunes, Podbean. Where else is it? Spotify.
Stitcher, Spotify, TuneIn, on the TuneIn app now as well.
Very good.
If you've got any-
We're there. We're there.
Any other places you want us, let us know. We'll try and get on there. Dave talking about referees.
Right.
Says, be interesting to see how some of the more camera-conscious refs, mentioning no names, get on if we do go to 2 refs. Can see it now blowing up for everything and overruling each other.
Oh, it's a bit harsh.
Tell us who you mentioned, Dave, on the...
Our game will go to referee, surely, will
We've
it?
got enough, have we?
I don't think the one though in the pocket, whatever it is, doesn't need to be. I think that could be.
You have a dominant ref.
Yeah. I think you could do that.
Get one of those in-goal judges to do that instead of hanging around behind the goal saying, yeah, it was try.
And when they go, it's a try, and they go, no, it's not a try.
I think we should only have 2 refs on the TV games, where there's a big screen and then the rest one ref.
Yeah.
Just to
Oh, we
keep
know the
consistency.
video referee runs the game anyway and says, Rob, you need to send him off there. Just to keep his head up.
Yeah. All right.
Allegedly.
What else do you want to talk about then? Where are we going?
What else should we go to? I'm going back to Facebook if my computer allows me to. We've got a grand final to talk about. We didn't really talk about the championship, not championship shield, we didn't need to talk about that, but Bradford back in the championship.
Yeah, 27-8 winners.
After this long exile of a year, this made out to be, they've been in the doldrums for a long time. Beating Workington, 6,000 crowd at Old Club.
Yeah.
So, we know that the market is there for Bradford if they can successfully grow. And next year's an interesting championship season, isn't it? Bradford, Toronto, York on the rise.
Yeah.
Obviously, we might have Workington, we might have Swinton. Dewsbury, who are looking for a new coach. Interesting, Leon Price was linked with there in the paper. He signed a new deal at the club last week, so I don't know why he's still in the paper being linked with them. Interesting time for the championship. And the Bash, I'm told, might not be in Blackpool. So that'll be interesting to see where it goes.
You were the only person who liked it being in
Well,
Blackpool.
yeah, I used to go every year. I was expecting a badge after going to all 5 of them. But but after the success of taking the Northern Rail Cup final to Halifax, I don't think the weekend in Halifax has the same cachet. No doubt. I don't know. Scarborough, their stadium's too small.
Barnsley.
I like Barnsley. I used to live there, so that's all right.
Where they're about taking
The
it.
Barnsley Bash, I don't know.
Rotherham.
Rotherham Bash.
Rotherham's
York
got a nice
Stadium.
stadium.
New York Stadium.
Yeah.
But I don't
Go
think
for a swim in the canal
Yeah, but what-
between the games.
Yeah, but what's there, for the fans and for us for a night
There's
out?
not many fans there.
Look it up.
Sorry, that's the
Yeah.
problem.
No,
stick a fan zone in. Come to the
yeah,
fan
but
zone.
there'll be someone want to stay over this sort of thing and have a night out, won't there?
No, in Rotherham.
Hey.
Yeah. See the
But what is
chuckle
it?
of the
What is it in
statue.
Rotherham? What is it in Barnsley?
Just before we
Barnsley, cheap beer.
Just before we go to the grand final, reading here Matt Shaw's piece in the Express that Hull FC are plotting a return for former back row Jordan Thompson. This would be Jordan Thompson that they let go because they didn't feel he was good enough. This is Jordan Thompson that left out of 2 successive cup final squads. I mean, is this Adam Pearson's grand recruiting.
I was just going
I
to
like
say.
Jordan Thompson.
Yeah,
I said at the
he's a
time,
grafter.
he should never have left Hull to go into the Championship. He should have stayed in Super League. He's in Super League with Leeds. I think he's a steady player. But that doesn't add up to me.
No, is it?
No.
Well, sorry.
Well, look, Adam Pearson was saying we're going to be bringing in quality and we're going to be letting rubbish go. Well, I wouldn't say he's that quality, and I wouldn't say he's rubbish. You know, he's just a player who'll just do the hard graft, won't he? You know, he's not going to win your games in Jordan from there. So I say when I read that this morning as well, I was very, very surprised. I agree totally. They shouldn't have let him go in the first place. You know, because he was a better player then than what he's now, and what he will bring to that whole side. I don't really think he'll bring a lot, to be honest with you.
Well, if Sol Westerman brought him back.
Has West Ham gone again, has he?
No, he's giving him a new deal.
Oh, sorry, yeah, right, yeah. I thought you mentioned that they got rid of him again, but no, with Pearson saying they're going to get short and bringing it a lot better quality. Well, I find that a strange one. Yeah.
And OKR, you know, we mentioned all these signings. Wella Haraki being linked with Reece Hambry now. You're thinking, really?
Two witness players.
Yeah.
I just
Well, Haraki again, you know, he's just a journeyman. How's he going to make you better? How's he going to win your games? I just don't buy into it.
Must be some exciting young talent in this City of Hull Academy. Unless you want to sign for one, let's see. I don't know what to sign for any.
Sandy says, what do we think will happen at Lee? Not paying their players and expecting them to play.
Is there a fit and proper persons test in rugby league?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, there is.
It's just not used.
Oh,
Just not used. Yeah, you know, or they don't scrutinise it properly, to be honest with you.
What do you think will happen at Lee, your favourite club?
I think my hope and my prayer is that Scully is made player coach.
All right.
Next
Well,
year.
he might keep you banned though, that's the problem.
Why do you say that, Mr. Davison?
I think you're the answer to
I
the
don't want to play, but I might be still available for the coach.
What, you want about 200 grand a season?
No.
300.
Well, based on current, you might get paid for a few weeks and then told you've got to leave and get a new deal somewhere else. Budding Thompson, thought he played well the other night. Who's going to pick him up?
I think has he been linked with
Leeds and OKR, isn't he?
Yeah, is it Leeds? Yeah.
Leeds and OKR.
I think so.
About it. Yeah.
Brett Delaney's retired. What do you make of that?
Great servant, isn't he? You know, when he came over as a 24-year-old and as a centre, and to be honest with you, I thought, well, is he going to bring that quality what we need? But certainly he's given quality every year he's been there, and we all know he's finished in the back row. But boy, oh boy, did he put his body on the line week in and week out. He put his body in some place.
He's probably done himself in,
Yeah,
hasn't he? I think.
yeah,
I think he's probably done himself
Well,
in.
he has, you know, and he would put his body in places where he shouldn't have really done, to be honest with you. But no complaints with him being an Australian player, overseas player. He didn't come for the holiday. Great service from Brett Delaney, and rightly so. The club himself, they're keeping him on, working with the foundation. So yeah, well done, Brett, and great service to Leeds.
I've not watched many films in my life, but I have seen the Sweeney movie, the original one, not the rubbish new one with your betting playfellow. And one of the people in that film who gets blown up, something, is Colin Welland and his son has messaged on Facebook. Christy Welland, he says he'd be very proud of London making it back in the Super League. He helped start the club in Fulham in the capital in 1980. Great rugby league person, Colin Welland, of course.
Yeah.
Oscar winner.
Was he?
Yeah, Chance of
Yeah,
Fire.
Colin Welland, yeah.
As in Martin, who's been in the papers all today, because London are back.
Yeah.
Evening Standard.
Yeah.
I think he told Gideon knew what rugby league was, but apparently he does. I'm very excited about that.
Very good.
Oh, Fulham, in them days, a good team. Reggie Bowden, he was the player coach, good to come out for it. Yeah, down at Fulham. Good side of the Reggie.
Where are League going? Someone said liquidation. Oh, it's a bit harsh. And at League One, well, I guess the precedent's been set, hasn't it? So, but we will see. Can't wait for the fixture list to come out. Apparently,
When did they come out the fixture list? When they out?
when it could work out who's in what division.
Yeah.
We've back on Toronto. We did have a message earlier from Nicholas saying they are still planning on playing some of their games in Europe this next season. So could still be seen Toronto versus pick a random Swinton in Copenhagen or versus Batley in Berlin.
Hold on, you reckon Swinton have been working to the what did you?
No, I was just throwing a name out there.
They've got a few missing.
Well, Workington have only got 10 players.
Yeah,
Swinton should be.
I think they've got more than 10.
11.
Yeah, I think they've got a few missing. But
So do you think? Do you think the
RFL?
RFL will move the goalposts this week like they did with Featherstone and Lee, where working till if they can sign some academy players from anywhere?
Well, they've got to be able to, haven't they?
It's not their fault, is it, that people have booked holidays based on when the season was supposed to end?
You can't add a game in
No.
the late stage of the season. And
No,
expect them.
it's farcical.
It is, yeah.
Why
You've
did
got to feel
why
sorry
did
for
they just
Worthington.
have 2 up, 2 down in the first one?
Yeah. That would have made it.
Because it's so simple to do and it's common sense thing to do. So that's why it doesn't work. That's why they don't want it. They don't want any simplicity.
Toby's asked us if we know what next year's ball will be, because of course it's the Rhino ball everyone loses. This is their fault. No idea. But apparently Fred of Betfriend wants to continue sponsoring rugby league, which is good because they've been a good partner to the sport.
They have. Very good.
Plenty of promotion for the sport, which is not something you get from every sponsor.
Yeah. Right, the SOT Grand Final. Who's going to win it? John Davison. Tell me who's going to win it and why.
I think Wigan will edge it just because of their big game experience. They just seem to know how to win the tight games, the big games. It doesn't matter how they'll grind it out, they'll wrestle it. They just they've got that edge, and I think, they're in good form. They've got all those ingredients. They want to send these guys out a winner. Wayne, Tompkins, Bateman, Sutton, and also the assistant coaches and the support staff in Mark Bitkin and Matty Pete. So a bit of an end of an era there, and they want to finish on the right terms.
Scott?
Yeah, well, I don't think Wigan on Saturday will be playing with any sentiment. This is just a. Well, it's not just another game because it's a grand final, but I think the way that Wigan are playing, the way the big game players, the quality players, when you mentioned it in Tompkins, and they say, look at the way Thomas Lulai's fitting at the 7, George Williams is back to his best, and the main man himself, and Lachlan, Powell's got in nicely at hooker from there, the forward pack, they'll just dominate like they normally do. So, but if Warrington are going to win this game, then they have to come up with something totally different to what they're not used to doing. I.e., as I've mentioned, maybe kicking in the attack account and looking maybe for the chips over the top or going for 40-20s. But one thing for sure, though, they can't do what Casper did. They can't be kicking the ball out and walking to scrum, because that's what we're going to want. If you want to play the same pace as what Wigan want to do, well, you've no chance, because that's what we'll talk about with the pressure, the grind from there. So Warrington have to play at a pace what suits them. So they've got to come up with a game plan where play expansive, and then maybe just get into a bit of a grind, and then all of a sudden, move the ball around a little bit from there. But they've got to do that for 80 minutes, and I'm not sure they'll be able to play that sort of rugby league football to win a grand final for 80 minutes. Wigan, the philosophy what they will go into the game won't change from the first kick-off to the last kick-off. The last second in 80 minutes, they will play exactly the same. I just feel as though Wigan's form at this moment in time, the big game players are playing too well. And I've said in my column, I'm going for Wigan by 14. I just think it's made for Wigan on Saturday. I'm not talking about the sentiment. With Wayne leaving, Tompkins leaving, Bateman leaving and Sutton. I just think Wigan are playing far too well, and this is their night. It's their night, Saturday night.
We said Castleford needed to get off to a fast start, didn't we, to put pressure on Wigan early, and they didn't. And I guess it's the same this week as well, isn't it? Warrington need to get the best start against Wigan. I think it'd be pretty much like that semi-final at St Helens. They'll, if they get the opportunity to kick 2, as Casper did it last year, they will take the opportunity to put points on the board. And the bookmakers make them the outsiders, as expected. Interestingly, they've drifted since Friday. 7-4, best price Warrington, which is a big price, isn't it?
That's a bit big.
I think it's a closer game than that. I probably will take Wigan. I think
This
Wigan
is Warrington absolutely gubbed
Yeah.
Wigan in the cup.
Yeah,
Warrington
they've
and
beaten
Gubbed
them this year. It's not
Yeah.
like
They only lost to the DW at the end of the regular season. Old Tyrone Roberts can't kick a drop goal.
had a perfect plan against St Helens and followed it through.
Well,
they learned from losing in the Championship as well.
They won't be intimidating Warrington, that's for sure. But you just feel as though the way that Wigan are going, and this is made for them. This is made for them on Saturday night. And I say Warrington's got to come with something different, something special. To beat Wigan. But also as well, we mentioned like last year, Casper did go for the first 2 points. If I were Warrington, I would be going for the 2 points. I wouldn't be going for the drop goal, because the further Wigan away from their own trial, they can't score. And the way that Warrington defended, if you looked at the line speed for Warrington as well against St Helens, that was quality for the full 80 minutes. So Warrington, if they do get opportunity to take the 2 points, I wouldn't do that. I would just keep Wigan pinned down in their own 22 as far away from my try line as possible, because Warrington have got pace. He's proven that. So any half breaks that can be made, they've got pace there to, to stop the likes of Manfredi and Gildart and whoever else picks on the wing from there. So
I
Warrington
totally disagree.
So for Warrington,
Take every point there.
For Warrington for field position, they've got to keep Wigan in it as much as possible in their own 22. I know, because it's playing into Wigan's hands. They'll be looking. They go for the goal, and Wigan will be ripping in. They'll be looking at smashing and forcing mistakes. I think you've got to keep Wigan away from your own try line as long as possible, and as far away as possible.
It's interesting. At Wembley and on Thursday, we saw very little of Josh Charnley, and Dave's asked, could he be the one to ruin Wigan's party?
Yeah, could well be. If you give him the right service, prove the sheer Charlie, you give him the right service, he will score your tries, and so will the other guys well in line, without a doubt. But also as well, I'm just thinking, with Tyrone Roberts, if it's not happening for him, they've got to get Declan Patton, because I think he brings a bit more variation.
Well, they won without Miller now.
I think he brings a little bit more.
The old top notch.
No, they did it all.
This is Warrington, says Toby, you've already faced defeat in the cup final. They won't want to lose another. Reckon emotion could get to Wigan, all the pressure's on them.
Didn't Warrington lose the cup final and the grand final before? When they lost to Wigan.
Yep.
Lost to Wigan in the final, didn't they?
Yep. Lost the whole.
So there is a precedent there.
Rob's on first points to be a Warrington penalty.
Yeah, I'd play that. I think they will. When we get the points.
Don't like Wigan, but want them to win for Sean Wayne, says Peter. He deserves to go out in style. Carl's happy, he thought we were all going to pick Warrington. Must be a Warrington fan. Vinty says, why will be a different proposition than Cass? Don't think Wigan will have it all their own way. As you mentioned earlier with Chris Hill, he can be on the
I think
dark
Warrington
side.
might win.
Ben Westwood, you know what he's like.
How come
That
Ben
was interesting,
Westwood?
wasn't it, about Sean Wayne saying he wished he'd coached him at one point.
Yeah, Ben Westwood, who is it in the head? Cameron Munster got sin bin in the grand final for that. Danny Washbrook got sin bin in the Challenge Cup quarter final for that, and yet Ben Westwood got away with it.
Mm-hmm.
How does that work out?
Consistency.
It's inconsistent, isn't it, with the referees?
Yeah, I thought that was poor. I thought that was silly from Ben Westwood as well. Really silly. Got away with it.
Sam Tompkins, unsurprisingly, favourite to be the man of the match.
Yeah.
At 4-1. John Bateman 8s. Darryl Clark and Stephen Ratch are both 10-1. Brown and Roberts 12-1.
I'm going to say now, if Warrington win, Kevin Brown will win man of the match, because he's got to play well for them to win.
I don't think we'll have seen a Ben Flowers at Duke. That was only St. Thomas.
Hopefully not.
I don't think that'll get. But Sam Tompkins gets my vote for the Harris Sunderland.
Does he?
We haven't played yet.
About you, John?
Yeah, I think Tompkins.
Yeah.
I think he's just last game for Wigan. In his life, he's a Wigan boy. I think he'll perform.
Is Bateman not more of a media darling? Can I use that term? Seems to have his admirers, don't he, in the media? We are big admirers as well, but I don't know. I'm just asking.
Who would have picked Liam Farrell to win it a couple of years ago when he was outstanding in the final four at Wigan? So you never know, do you?
Do you know what would be interesting as well on Saturday night? How long Sean O'Loughlin plays? How long's he stay on the field for? Does he bring him off after 20 minutes? Does he keep him up
I
for
think
half
that's
an
the
hour?
plan now, isn't it? Sometimes they don't even do 20 minutes.
Well,
now.
but I'm saying, do you think they'll keep him up for longer, and then and keep him, then bring him back on for the last 20 minutes, or say the last 10 minutes? It'd be interesting how long O'Loughlin plays. Well, his first spell. See how long he's on the field for.
No one's going to miss the grand final for Wigan or Warrington. No one's been charged. Free Moimei, who I joked on Twitter yesterday, must have a holiday booked. 3-match penalty notice for Workington, grade C high tackle. Jamie Acton of Lee, grade D intentional strike, referred to tribunal. Well done, Jamie. Someone's linked him with a move to Salford.
He's got a great record, hasn't
How
he?
can Fui Moi have been banned already? When in the league season, that won't get reviewed till next week, would it? Is that not a fair thing? So we even have different rules now for the tribunal after the game. What's that all about?
I don't know. It's been a very made-up end to the season, hasn't it?
It has. It's a bit like this show. It's just made up.
Well, it is. So I think.
Oh, by the way, old Goggins here didn't turn it off last week. The podcast. Sean Wayne says the greatest thing ever, right?
Oh,
in response to my question, Goggins here presses stop on the thing. It's like, what are you doing?
What was your question?
I said, were you disappointed that St Helens lost? Would that have been your dream final? So it's Wigan.
That was when he swore.
He swore,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
I don't care less
That's
who
what
we
we don't
play.
care, yeah.
And then at the end he said something quite derogatory about St Helens, didn't he?
Wow,
But he
yeah.
turned
Could
it
have
off.
broken the
He
internet.
turned it off. It's like, oh, come on, Rich.
I hate St Helens. He's from
You know what the funniest thing I've ever seen in rugby league was, right? They did the press for the semi-finals at Langtree Park on the day that they'd started selling tickets for the semi-finals. I think Castle were playing Wigan, so there were hundreds of Saints fans, and Wayne had to walk past them all to get in the ground, and he went, just let me walk past all them, and I've just been getting effed and jeffed all the way down. He said that. It was quite funny, but he, yeah, well, he says it's
Stephen says it'd be nice to see a new name on the Super League trophy.
yeah.
And Andy's asked, who are you going for?
Oh. It's finally their year.
Is it their year?
It's their year. Kevin Brown, man of the match.
I know he's not their year.
I've got no money on that, Andy, but yeah. I mean, I know him quite well. It'd be nice for him to win.
Yeah.
Sean Wayne, if you're listening, I actually meant Wigan.
You only have to speak to him once more, though. That's the thing. It's all
Fair enough.
we're excited. I think we're looking forward to it.
Do you think
That should be a good game.
they'd be interested as well after the game, because I think we're going to win and Wayne will be celebrating. You think Mr. Lanigan will be on the sideline shaking the hands and giving a bit of a colour to the show like they have done when they've won previously?
No.
Do you
No.
think Mr. Lanigan will make
I
himself...
think Sean will blank him.
Yeah, but I said, do you think Mr. Lanigan will make himself available at the side of the pitch to congratulate Sean?
No. No, I don't think he will. I don't think he will.
I don't. You
It's a
know,
bonkers
again,
decision.
just with Lanigan, he doesn't realise what a massive mistake he's doing here, does he?
He doesn't. We'll see.
I mentioned earlier on Twitter people moaning about Toronto, and I expressed an opinion that we cater for the lowest common denominator, and that holds us back from trying to grow. And things like Toronto, who knows? They may fizzle out in 5 years. They may be here forever. Mick says the problem is they're fans of rugby league clubs, not rugby league in general. When Kevin Sinful was up for Sports Personality of the Year, there's no chance anyone from rugby league's going to be on that shortlist this year. People on social media made it clear they wouldn't vote for him. Imagine the lift him winning would have given the game. Would have been very short.
Would it really? I tell you what, look at the list for sports personality this year. I'd cancel it. Oh, it's
Well,
terrible.
they're not going to name it until the day, are they?
Oh, it's
in a
terrible.
change
It's
to-
terrible.
awful
Look at the
program,
betting. Oh,
Harry Maguire.
he's 100 to 1.
As I always say,
100 to 1.
there must be a point where they stood out.
Harry Kane's. I'll tell you what, Geraint
Joshua.
Thomas.
Yeah.
Geraint Thomas is the favourite to win it, right? And I reckon if you walk down a street in Leeds and went, "Who's that?" No one would know.
Oh no,
who it
they're
is.
all big cycling fans in Leeds. The alternate for the
Oh,
Tour de
yeah.
Yorkshire.
Yeah, yeah,
Free stuff. That's what people in Leeds like.
Yeah.
I was amused. I would love to get to hear the backstage chat between Gary Lineker, Gabby Logan, and Claire Baldwin, but they're better than him at his job and get paid a fraction of what he does. Well, there you go. I can't find the betting for some reason.
No, I
But,
don't want
yeah.
to talk about it.
No.
Who's going to win between
No.
Workington and Swinton, or Swinton and Workington? What a coin toss that! If Workington had that game at home, I'd have been a few quid out of that.
Oh,
No?
that, oh yeah, he would have been back, yeah, but did I say we don't know what numbers Workington's going to have from there, so I think this has to go with Swinton, won't it, to be honest with you?
John?
Yeah, I think Swindon. I think they're a bit more settled. Probably got a lot more fit players available. So.
Well, they've had a week off.
I
Yeah.
assume it's going to be streamed somewhere, but I don't know.
Who are you going for, Rich?
Well, I've seen Swinton play, I haven't seen Workington play, so that would have been a tough game for them yesterday, wouldn't it, in terms of all the effort and such put in. I think I've signed with Swinton, but I don't really know enough.
But also as well, when you look at this, and the players like Leon said in the League Express today, like the so-called captain's run, they couldn't do the captain's run because six players were working. So if that's the same again this weekend, the 6 players are working, 4 players on holiday, what sort of preparation is that? Do the RFL literally know exactly what they're doing?
No.
Do they know what they're doing?
Is that some kind of stupid question?
Catherine, that's why we're having a love for
rhetorical.
Sean Wayne, because he's off the rugby union.
Well, I'm not so sure people ask them this question. Do people ask them the question, do you really know what you're doing? Do people ask them that question?
Yeah.
Go on, what did you say?
Yeah, why are we having a loving for Sean Wayne when he's off the rugby union?
I think
He's leaving the game, Don, because Ian Lenigan's forced him out. That's why. He's
Because
not leaving of his own free will.
Is he
Don't
the
let anyone
character?
kid you that any different.
also as well, I think you've got to respect Sean Wayne for what he's done for the
Yeah,
game.
exactly.
And what he's done for Wigan.
Yeah.
And also as well, what he can still do for Rugby League, and what he can still do for Wigan, and what he can still do for the British talent, and what he can do for the Wigan talent. That's why we're saying about Sean Wayne, it's great for Rugby League.
Yeah.
We miss Brian McDermott.
Do
we miss, yeah. Unless he's going to.
I don't think Phil does.
Saw him in Leeds the other day, Brian. He assaulted me.
Do you want to retract that? He might sue you.
Well, he like whacked me on the chest.
Oh.
Hi, Brian, you're right.
Not
He looked well. He looked well, did Brian? Looked well.
Apparently, just before the grand final, there's a Sean Wayne tribute program on Sky.
Sean Wayne tribute.
Yeah, I don't think.
What are they singing?
The Waynes.
I do like all this airbrushing of history. Oh, he's had 30 years at Wigan. Yeah, forgetting the bit where he went to Leeds. He didn't play for Leeds.
What was he like as a teammate? Was he alright?
Oh yeah, well, yeah. But he's a character, Sean, you know, and he likes a pint and all this sort of character. He's one of the jokers as well.
Was he in the Monday Club, was he?
Oh yeah. Don't worry about that. Yeah, but as a player, because as I say, I've known Sean. We since we were 12 years of age. He played for Yorkshire at Lancashire. And then he was the best player around. He loose forward. He had everything. He could pass. He could tackle. He could create and take the ball. He could kick. He kicked goals. He had everything. He was that size when he was 13. You know, Sean has stature. He hasn't moved from there. But oh no, great bloke, Sean. Both. Yeah. Like, knows when to enjoy himself. Loves a pint of Guinness. He can put the Guinness away. Don't worry about that. But the job what he's done, he's just shown what a great bloke he is and what a great professional he's been and what a great job he's done, not just for Wigan, but for British Rugby League as well.
Speaking of Scoey's glasses, if you ever get the chance to watch, I think it's Dean Bell's This Is Your Life, which is on YouTube. He is wearing one hell of a pair of glasses, is Sean Wayne, and a terrible outfit. So make sure you go check that out. And again, that wasn't me who said that.
Was it as good as Phil Clark's jacket last night?
I've not seen it.
On the moon
My
paint
TV has broken, so I can't. I've not seen it yet. But
I must admit, I only watched 5 minutes of that game because I couldn't watch the second because the first half was rubbish and I thought I can't watch any more of this.
It wasn't a high quality game, was it?
It was
It's about the drama, Gary. It's about the drama.
Drama.
think of all those people.
Do you know what?
Say
Do you
Johnson,
know what? I was that much
Toronto,
interested in the second half because it was that crap watching it and the quality was that rubbish.
He says this with a minute left of the show.
I was checking on CFAX, the CFAX.
CFAX?
I was checking on CFAX, and you know, the
I
score
don't-
2-0, 2-all,
I think
4-2. And you know what? I went to my saying, oh, thank God I'm not sat downstairs watching this game.
I think he was waiting for the carrier pigeon to come.
I kind of tell people like CFAX died in 2012, but
It hasn't
There's a knock at the
CFAX.
door, was it? A telegram to give you the final score.
CFAX is still working on my black and white portable. I can really show you.
Oh,
So if there's any nice good electrical stores out there, I could do with a colour television if you don't mind for my bedroom.
CFAX closes down after 38 years, apart from what's going to tell you.
CFAX isn't closed down.
The BBC
I put it on every night. On the BBC, I put it on every night.
On that bombshell.
Right, that's it. Thanks to Richard, thanks to Gary, thanks to John for stepping in very ably there. Richard, he's going to turn the button off.
Yeah.
But not before we tell you a big exclusive. You won't believe what's happened.
Have they sent us the email about Man of Steel this year after they got broken embargoed one year?
Oh,
That
yeah,
classic.
never mind. Download the podcast, subscribe and like it. Thank you for watching. We'll be back next week.
And extra bonus footage now for our viewers on YouTube, because it takes me longer to press to. I don't know what's going on with the map today, but it has worked. Well, that's the end of. Well, that's the end of that. And very goodbye to everyone on YouTube as well.
Was it